The little baby dumpling was waiting in the belly to be born. But mom had a difficult labor. You were so anxious that you kicked your twin sister right out, because you clearly heard the doctors talking. If the first child couldn't be delivered, once the amniotic fluid ran dry, both babies would suffocate. You were absolutely furious to think that you, a magnificent king of technology, were assassinated by those closest to you. Reincarnating as a tiny baby was one thing, but you ended up stuck with such a cowardly sister. She didn't even dare to leave the womb. Accompanied by a loud, resonant cry, everyone inside and out breathed a sigh of relief. You couldn't wait and squeezed your way out too. The light outside was a bit blinding. Before you could even adjust, someone suddenly grabbed your little feet. Why isn't this boy crying? The nurse's confused voice came from the side. A bad premonition instantly welled up in your heart. Sure enough, the next second, a crisp slap landed on your butt. Wah! That hurts. You snapped your eyes open. The nurse didn't expect the baby to suddenly open his eyes, meeting your fierce, glaring gaze. She was so startled she almost dropped you. Why does this kid's eyes look so fierce? Just then, a gentle voice drifted over. Hurry, bring the baby over for me to see. Soon after, you felt your body lighten, and then you landed in a warm embrace. What entered your sight was an absolutely flawless face. Baby, I'm mommy. Welcome to this world. Your eyes felt a little sore. Living a second life. You were finally no longer an abandoned orphan. Once you and your twin sister were cleaned up by the nurses, the moment you were carried out of the delivery room, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Several pairs of eyes landed on you two in unison. Who are these people? And this group of young girls actually look exactly the same. My precious good grandson. Quick, let grandpa have a look. Leading the pack, Lin Jianguo rushed forward with vigorous strides. Behind him stood 3 teenage girls and 2 7- or 8-year-old little girls. He's all wrinkly. So ugly. Looks like a monkey. A sudden voice drifted over from the side. It was one of the teenage girls. You glared fiercely in the direction of the voice and inadvertently met a pair of peach blossom eyes. She actually looks pretty good. The girl was currently looking down at you from above with a somewhat careless and nonchalant vibe. Little brother is so cute. Just as you were silently holding a grudge, another pretty face squeezed in. The two of them looked exactly the same. They even said in unison, Grandpa, I want to hold little brother too. You're old. Don't tire yourself out. Lin Jianguo shifted his body to the side, dodging them with great agility. With my old bones, I wouldn't get tired even if I held him all day. The few of them bantered back and forth, making it quite lively. The corner of your eye caught sight of the side. After a long while, you finally figured out the identities of these people. The oldest elder is your biological grandfather in this life, because the Lin family hadn't had a baby boy in a long time. You won the old man's favor the moment you were born. You also have 6 older sisters above you. The 3 identical pretty teenage girls are triplets. The mature and steady one is the eldest sister, Lin Shiyuan. The cold and quiet one is the second sister, Lin Ruoxua. The sharp-tongued one who called you ugly is the third sister, Lin Shuing. As for the 4th sister, Lin Yuxia, and the 5th sister, Lin Xingyue, they are the twin girls who are around 6 years old. The 6th sister, naturally, that's the one, the little coward you kicked out of the womb. You finally realize a harsh reality. It turns out this whole room full of beauties are actually all your sisters. So many good cabbages, but you can only look and not touch. What an absolute waste of heavenly treasures. Your gaze swept around the room. Come to think of it, it's weird. It's been so long. Why haven't you seen your dad? You only found out later. It turns out that the moment you were carried out by the nurses, Lin Mo had already rushed to your mother's side at the very first second. Even though you are the Lin family's only baby boy in such a long time, in the eyes of Lin Mo, this wife-doting maniac, Mommy is the most important little princess. Inside the pink and blue cribs, 2 babies lay side by side. You stared at the ceiling above with a look of utter despair. Lin Jiahi, can you please stop crying? A baby only a few months old couldn't even roll over, let alone do anything else. Ugly duckling, we're here to see you. An infuriating voice came from above. You rolled your eyes. Needless to say, it was definitely the 3rd sister, Lin Shuing. Every time you saw her, your teeth itched with hatred. When you grew your first baby tooth, the first thing you did was grab Lin Shuing and bite her hard. Fortunately, Mom, Su Qianqian, came to the rescue in time, giving her the chance to flee at top speed. Rumor has it she went back to her room and showered for 3 hours, and still felt like her arm smelled like baby drool. This incident became a running joke among the siblings at home. You finally managed to survive the infant stage. It was finally time for your first birthday. The Lin family prepared to throw a massive, grand first birthday banquet. But no matter how everyone coaxed you, you cried, fussed, and flat out refused to leave the room. You've got to be kidding. You were the king of technology. What's with this yuzu ritual? Isn't that way too childish? Seeing that it was almost time to start, everyone was at their wits' end with you. Why haven't you guys headed out yet? Eldest sister Lin Shiyuan pushed the door open and walked in. You turned your head to look and inadvertently caught sight of a pair of deep, dark eyes. Your attention was instantly drawn over. Looking at the unfamiliar woman behind Lin Shiyuan, your eyes lit up. You couldn't help but open your arms. After all this time, you finally saw a woman who was even prettier than your sisters. Sun Yanshu looked at the little pink dumpling reaching out to her. She furrowed her brows and took 2 steps back. You were being rejected. Seeing such an obvious reaction, you furrowed your brows. From birth until now, no woman had ever dared to treat you with such an attitude. Woman, You've successfully caught my attention. Seeing your little mouth pout, Lin Shiyuan was very understanding. She picked you up and forcefully stuffed you into Su Nianchu's arms. You immediately revealed a triumphant smile, and like an octopus, you clung tightly onto Su Nianchu's body. Nianchu, hold him tight. This is our Lin family's little young master. Su Nianchu subconsciously reached out to catch you. In that instant, she felt like she was holding a ball of cotton candy. There was even a faint, refreshing milky scent that made people want to take a bite. Right at this moment, an unfriendly gaze landed on you. As if sensing it, you raised your head, only to see a handsome young boy standing at the door, his eyes full of extreme jealousy. You looked at him, then your gaze fell back onto Su Nianchu. You instantly understood everything. Smack! You planted a very arrogant kiss right on her. Trying to steal a woman from me? No way. Everyone was dumbfounded. You have to know. Normally, you wouldn't even let anyone touch your cheeks. You'd cry at the slightest touch. Yet you actually took the initiative to kiss Su Nianchu. Instantly, several pairs of eyes landed on Su Nianchu like daggers. Lin Shiyuan gritted her teeth. Su Nianchu, I treated you like a sister, and you actually want to abduct my little brother? Although second sister, Lin Ruoxua didn't say a word. Her eyes became even sharper and darker, as if the temperature around her had dropped significantly. Third sister, Lin Shuing, wore a half-smile, her peach blossom eyes filled with jealousy. On what grounds? How could a sister's treatment be worse than an outsider's? Without a word, Lin Shuing tried to come over and snatch you away, but you clung onto Su Nianchu's hand for dear life, as if you were glued to it. Su Nianchu looked at the pink, tender dumpling in her arms, and a rare trace of doting affection appeared on her usually cold face. Fang Yuan watched from the side, unconsciously gripping the hem of his shirt. He put on a smile and walked forward. Sister Shu, this little brother is so cute. Can I hold him? You, however, pouted at him, revealing a provocative glare. Fang Yuan froze for a moment, his hands stiffening in midair. He wasn't seeing things, right? How could a little kid have such a look in his eyes? In the end, it was Lin Jiangguo who stepped in to smooth things over, finally getting everyone to head out to the banquet venue. At the first birthday banquet, Grandpa Lin Jiangguo held you, while Father Lin Mo held the sixth child, Lin Jia. The two of them carefully placed you both on the long table, preparing for the Zuazo ritual. The moment you were placed on the table, your first instinct was to head straight for Su Nianchu's spot. However, you felt resistance from behind. Turning your head to look, it was Lin Jia grabbing onto your clothes and refusing to let go. Annoyed, you kicked her away, then crawled over at top speed. With lightning speed, you grabbed Su Nianchu's hand. No one expected that the Lin family's young master would ignore all the items on the table and actually grab Su Nianchu. Everyone was utterly shocked. On the other hand, Lin Jiangguo looked at you with utmost seriousness. Ran, do you like her? You nodded like a woodpecker. What's the fun in grabbing those things? Life is too boring. You always have to find some challenges for yourself. Your reaction exceeded everyone's expectations. Old Master Lin burst into loud laughter. His gaze fell upon Su Nianchu. This actually reminds me of an old matter from the past. It turned out that the Lin and Shu families were family friends for generations. Back then, the madams of both families were pregnant at the same time, and because the two families were so close, they agreed that if it was a boy and a girl, they would arrange a marriage between them. But after Madame Su gave birth to Su Nianchu, she passed away from a difficult labor, and unfortunately, Su Qianqin gave birth to 5 girls in a row. So, this matter was continuously put on hold. Hearing the old master mention her mother, Su Qianqin also remembered that there was indeed such a thing. Lin Shiyuan, it's all your fault for leading the wolf into the house. The sisters were exasperated, whispering angrily among themselves. At this moment, Lin Shiyuan was also regretting it so much her intestines turned green. Their family's little cabbage hadn't even grown up yet, and he was already about to be snatched away. At this time, the old master spoke up, asking, Nianchu, what do you think? How about letting Ranran be your groom? Before Su Nianchu could even open her mouth, a crisp, young male voice suddenly rang out. No. Everyone looked toward the source of the voice, only to see Fang Yuan clutching his clothes, looking somewhat anxious and uneasy. This look falling into your eyes. Good heavens, mastering the essence of a green tea at such a young age. What are you stepping out and saying no for? Fang Yuan mustered his courage and spoke. They can't be engaged, because I am Su Nianchu's boyfriend. The entire venue instantly erupted into an uproar of discussions. Just by looking at the gazes of the bystanders, you knew exactly what they were thinking. It was nothing more than thinking Fang Yuan was a better match for Su Nianchu than you. You were a bit unconvinced. What's with those looks? So what if I'm a dozen years younger than Su Nianchu? What's the big deal? It was just a pity that no one could understand what you were saying. Fang Yuan bent down and looked at you, flailing your limbs. He pinched your chubby little cheeks. A baby doesn't understand anything. How would he know how to choose a wife? He revealed a sweet smile and looked at old Master Lin. Grandpa Lin, you shouldn't play matchmaker so recklessly. You looked at the hand messing with your face, and Fang Yuan's hypocritical smile, and felt your teeth itching. Seizing the opportunity, you took a fierce bite. Although you only had a few tender baby teeth, you used every ounce of strength you had. Fang Yuan cried out in pain and flung you away. Clear teeth marks were left on his fair arm. Su Nianchu didn't expect this little guy's temper to actually be so endearing. She subconsciously glanced at you, only to see you baring your teeth at her, looking very much like, If you dare admit it, I'll make you pay for it. Shu Nianchu slowly opened her mouth and said, I have nothing to do with him. Fang Yuan's face instantly turned deathly pale. He looked at Shu Nianchu in utter disbelief. Sister Nianchu, how could you? In contrast, you raised both hands high, extremely smug, giggling nonstop. Accompanied by the varying gazes of the guests, Fang Yuan felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. Sister Nianchu, you clearly know I wanted to help you. Why? Shu Nianchu slightly raised her eyes and said coldly, Sorry, Mr. Fang, I am not someone who is good at lying. Sister Nianchu, I hate you. Fang Yuan wailed, dropping this sentence, and ran out crying loudly. No one took this little interlude to heart. Soon, the entire venue returned to its previous liveliness. Only a few of your sisters kept a straight face, looking exactly as if someone owed them millions. Also keeping a cold face was Shu Nianchu. As for the engagement, I hope we can discuss it in the future. After all, Ran is too young right now. If he finds someone he truly loves in the future, wouldn't this just hold him back? Shu Nianchu spoke rigidly and seriously. She clearly wasn't that old, yet she acted so mature. It gave off a strong, adorable contrast. This made Su Qianxin scream, so cute. In her heart, she pulled her over to sit down. All right. We'll listen to Nianchu. From now on, just treat this place as your home. Don't be a stranger with me. Old Master Lin also had a face full of doting affection. Nianchu's body is a bit frail. We'll have to nourish you properly another day. You, who were originally the center of attention, were now left out in the cold on the side. You stared dumbfounded at the scene before you. Iya. However, the Lin family was all hovering around Shu Nianchu, not even sparing you a single glance. What's going on? I played myself. I actually brought back someone to steal my favor. Sure enough, they're all a bunch of fickle jerks. However, Lin Shuing sharply noticed your change. Your cheeks puffed up at a visible rate. It looked truly adorable. Why do you look like a little frog? She reached out and poked you, so soft and squishy. Isn't this the woman you picked yourself? Why are you sulking now? You should just yield a bit to Shu Nianchu. If Auntie Shu were still alive. Catching sight of Su Nianchu's suddenly changing expression, Lin Shuing knew she had misspoken and hurriedly changed the subject. Your heart skipped a beat. Could it be that both her parents are gone? After all, on such an occasion, Shu Nianchu's father wasn't present. Instantly, you felt a bit of pity for this icy beauty. Then you raised your little hands high, asking for a hug. Su Qianxian was very perceptive and immediately stuffed you into Shu Nianchu's arms. Before Su Nianchu could even react, your soft lips pressed against hers. Old Master Lin laughed heartily. You really do like Nianchu a lot. This is a match made in heaven. Hurry and invite Mr. Shu over. Let him get a good look at his little son-in-law. Hearing this, a row of question marks floated in your head. What's going on? Shu Nianchu's father isn't dead? Then wasn't your kiss given away for nothing? The moment Shu Chen entered the door, Lin Jianguo waved at him with a kind face. But despite the Lin family's fiery enthusiasm, Su Chen's frosty expression didn't loosen in the slightest. He directly scolded Su Nianchu. Nianchu, apologize at once. You actually grabbed onto Su Nianchu. Just as old Master Lin was arranging the childhood engagement for you, Shu Chen suddenly appeared. Nianchu, apologize immediately. He turned to look at old Master Lin and said apologetically, my daughter was in the wrong regarding this matter. She doesn't understand etiquette. A perfectly good Jew as hell. Banquet was ruined by her. The Lin family was originally in high spirits, but hearing these words, they instantly felt a bit uncomfortable. You were instantly ignited like a powder keg. Wasn't your engagement to Shu Nianchu a matter of course? How did it become a mistake? In the eyes of this stone-faced man, you couldn't let the beauty you already had in your grasp fly away. Iya. You wanted to scold him, but no one could understand you. You were so angry you tried to crawl forward, but accidentally, you fell right off the table. Second sister, Lin Ruoxu noticed first and caught you in her arms in a flash. She checked you over carefully and only breathed a sigh of relief when she found you weren't hurt. Only then did Shu Chen notice you. Seeing the baby boy's eyes, he was suddenly stunned. Those familiar peach blossom eyes. The gaze flowed as if holding 1,000 words, yet the look was pure, hesitant to speak. This kind of look, he hadn't seen it since she left. Iya. You reached out, trying to grab Shu Chen's lapel. Seeing this, Lin Jianguo directly stuffed you into Shu Chen's arms. Who knew that third sister Lin Shuing would suddenly burst out laughing? Ha. Finally, someone is getting the same treatment as me. Everyone followed her gaze, only to see that on Shu Chen's suit, there was a suspicious liquid stuck to it. No one expected that after asking for a hug, you would actually wipe your snot and drool all over Su Chen. Su Chen furrowed his brows tightly, staring at the baby boy in his arms who was smirking mischievously after doing the deed. A hint of anger welled up in his eyes. Seeing her father getting angry, Su Nianchu hurriedly snatched you back. Father, he's still little and doesn't know any better. Please don't get mad at a baby. In Shu Nianchu's arms, you restlessly waved your little baby fist. A grown man pulling a long face. Who are you showing it to? Lin Mo. Take Brother Chen to change his clothes. Then our two families can sit down and discuss this matter properly. Lin Mo and Su Qianxian were of one mind, so he instantly understood her meaning. Originally, as long as Shu Chen nodded, this little interlude would have passed just like that. But Shu Chen stood rooted to the spot, unmoving. Just as the Lin family's expressions turned serious, who knew Shu Chen would say, marrying into the Lin family was also my wife's dying wish. How could I truly refuse? It's just that I've neglected Nianchu's discipline since she was young. I'm just afraid the Lin family's young master will suffer grievances in the future. Hearing this, Lin Jiangguo finally smiled again. Since niece Nianchu doesn't object, then this marriage is settled. With old master Lin putting it this way, there was no room for Shu Chen to disagree. The engagement between the Shu and Lin families was practically set in stone. But even though your wish was fulfilled, you had a new worry. Normal kids at this age should be talking, but you kept babbling wah wah wah, unable to spit out a single proper word. Could it be that this reincarnated body of yours is mute? Mommy. At this moment, Lin Jia, seeing you being held, reached out to Su Qianqian with slurred speech, extending her chubby little hands. Su Qianqian happily pulled Lin Jiahe into her arms, her face full of doting affection. Little Jia, call mommy again. Mommy. Lin Jiahe obediently called out again. Your heart skipped a beat. This annoying little brat actually learned how to talk. This is unscientific. You and Lin Jiao were born at the same time. Why is she the only one who can speak? Thinking of this, you doubted yourself even more. You opened your mouth like a weapon. Yeah. Something must have gone wrong. You absolutely refused to be a mute. Now, everyone was drawn to Lin Jie, who had just learned to speak, surrounding her with surprise and joy. You sat all alone on the bed, pouting your little mouth, furious. It's over. I'm going to fall out of favor. Yeah. Accompanied by your demonic babbling, Lin Jiahe seemed to have divine help. Mommy. Big sis. Second sis. Lin Jiahe's pronunciation got clearer each time, making you incredibly jealous. You felt like you were going crazy. To think that a reborn tech mogul like me would be defeated by a literal baby. Right now, you just want the ground to swallow you whole. But your third sister, Lin Shuing, refuses to let you off the hook. Ranran, even that stinky Jiahe can talk now. Come on, call me third sister. Lin Shuing leans in close. The most infuriating part is, she's looking you up and down with that punchable, teasing gaze. You really want to just smack her across the face, but under everyone's expectant gazes, you suddenly feel a wave of insecurity. You lower your head, not saying a word. Su Qianxian finally notices your shift in mood. She hands Lin Jiahe over to Lin Shiyuan and gently picks you up with a tender expression. Whether our Ranran can speak or not, you'll always be mommy's precious baby. Smelling the faint, comforting scent of your mother, your nose tingles with emotion. In your past life, you were completely alone and miserable. In this life, you have a family who truly loves you. You're already so incredibly happy. If this is the price to pay for having a family, you'd willingly stay mute for the rest of your life. It's just a shame to let down everyone's deep affection. Lost in these thoughts, cradled in Su Qianxian's soft embrace, you drift off into a sweet sleep. By the time you wake up, it's already dark outside. The nanny places you on the soft couch next to Lin Shuying and turns around to go mix some baby formula. You see your third sister, Lin Shuying, agonizing over her math homework. She finally manages to finish the last calculation problem. Stretching lazily, she accidentally bumps into you. It took you that long to solve such a simple problem. You're so dumb. You roast her in your mind, seeing you staring at her. Lin Shuing assumes you're interested in her homework. Your third sister is pretty amazing, right? Once you learn how to talk, I'll teach you what 1 + 1 equals. You roll your eyes at her. Do I really need to learn such brain-dead addition? You take the milk bottle from the nanny with both hands, take a huge gulp, and spit it right all over Lin Shuing. My brand new clothes? Lin Shuing grits her teeth in anger. Not only are her clothes soaked, but they also reek of milk. Giggle. You laugh so hard your eyes crinkle into little slits. I'm telling mom and dad. Lin Shuing wants to teach you a lesson but doesn't dare to. She has no choice but to run upstairs to change. Having vented your frustration, you hand the bottle back to the nanny. Babble. Make me another bottle. This one isn't enough. The nanny seems to understand you. She takes the bottle and heads to the kitchen in a daze. With the nanny gone, you dart your big eyes around, and seeing no one else around, you quietly take Lin Shuing's homework and stuff it behind the sofa cushion. Let's see what she hands in tomorrow. Early the next morning, Lin Shuing rummages through her entire backpack but can't find her homework. To keep her family from finding out, she has to bite the bullet and stand as punishment for 2 whole class periods. The more she thinks about it, the more wrong she feels. She clearly finished it last night and left it on the coffee table. Su Qianxian and her husband carry you and Lin Jiahe downstairs, only to see Lin Shuing acting like a maniac, frantically searching for something. Little girl, what are you doing? Itching for a beating the moment you get home from school. You snicker secretly. Way to go, daddy. Lin Shuing is definitely itching for a beating, dad. I'm looking for my homework notebook. Lin Shuing freezes for a second. She quickly stands up straight, too guilty to meet her father's eyes. Didn't do your homework again. Got punished by the teacher? Did not. My notebook just went missing. I finished all my homework. Lin Shuing argues defensively. Out of the corner of her eye, she catches you smiling gleefully. Suddenly, she remembers something. I know what happened. Last night, Ranran purposely spit milk all over me. Ranran must have hidden my homework notebook. Not too stupid after all, huh? But even with Lin Shuing exposing you, you aren't worried. You're just a 1-year-old, a clueless little toddler. Who would ever believe her? You make a mistake, don't reflect on it, and now you're shifting the blame? Lin Shuing, go face the wall and think about what you've done. Only after Lin Shuing dejectedly accepts her punishment does Lin Mo's expression finally soften. Spring passes, autumn arrives. You are now officially 2 years old. Propping up your chin in front of the mirror, you examine yourself. You really want to cry. You're 2 years old and still can't say a single word. Is God really going to make you a mute? Meanwhile, Grandpa Lin's 70th birthday banquet is being held in a week. The Lin family kids gather together, discussing what gifts to prepare for him. Why don't we pack Ran Ran up as a birthday gift? Give Grandpa a big surprise? Just as Lin Shuing finishes speaking, she feels a sharp pain on her hand. You're glaring at her angrily. Ran Ran, are you a dog? Why do you bite people for no reason? She clutches the back of her hand, gritting her teeth in pain. Serves you right. Who told you to spout nonsense? Packing me up as a surprise gift for Grandpa? That's way too cliche. This is Grandpa's 70th birthday. How many 70th birthdays can a person have? I need to give Grandpa a truly unique surprise. In the middle of the night, you open your eyes. Inside the study, your tiny figure climbs up onto a chair that's just as tall as you are. Then, you neatly arrange the paper, ink, brush, and inkstone. In your past life, your calligraphy won awards. A minute later, a crooked yet barely recognizable character for longevity appears on the paper. So ugly. You rub your sore left hand. Well, I already wrote it. I can't just throw it away. Besides, you're just a 2-year-old toddler. If you wrote it too perfectly, it would only raise suspicion. As you climb down from the chair, your foot slips, and you accidentally tumble to the floor. You bite back the pain and hold in your tears, but the faint scraping sound of the chair moving still alerts Lin Shiwan, whose room is closest to the study. Are you okay? Perhaps because she didn't hear a response for a while. Lin Shiyuan starts to panic. She kicks the door open, but as soon as she enters, she sees a little munchkin sitting on the floor, with a face full of tears. Ran Ran, what are you doing here? Does it hurt? Big sis will blow on it for you. What's this? Lin Shiyuan suddenly notices the piece of paper fluttering on the floor. She bends down to pick it up. Unfolding it, the character for longevity catches her eye. Out of the corner of her eye, she notices the ink stains on your hands. Ran Ran, did you come to the study just to write this longevity character? Ran Ran, you're an absolute genius. I'm going to tell Mom and Dad right now. You suddenly grab tightly onto your eldest sister's collar. Your warm little head immediately shakes like a rattle drum. Lin Shiyuan, meet your big, watery eyes. She seems to understand what you mean. You want me to keep it a secret? And then, on Grandpa's 70th birthday, give him a big surprise, right? You nod first, and then shake your head vigorously. Pointing your chubby finger at the paper, you babble, babble, babble. No. I want you to keep it a secret, yes, but I didn't say you should give this paper to Grandpa. Lin Shiwan glances at the paper, then back at the incredibly adorable little person in her arms. Her brows furrow slightly. I understand. I'll make sure to keep Ranran's gift safe. This will be our little secret. You almost pass out from rolling your eyes so hard. On the day of the 70th birthday banquet, the main hall is bustling with excitement. You look around, searching for Shu Nianchu. Did she decide not to come? Instantly, you lose all your energy. Ran. It's been a year. Do you still remember your uncle? A huge face suddenly pops up right in front of you, scaring the crap out of you. Seeing that he frightened the child, Su Chen quickly stands up and coughs to cover his embarrassment. Whatever Shu Chen says next, you don't hear a single word of it. Instead, you stare blankly at Shu Nianchu standing nearby. It's been a year. Shu Nianchu has changed quite a bit. Her elegant aura is absolutely flawless. My little child bride, you're finally here. I missed you so much. You babble a bunch of incomprehensible words as you waddle step by step towards Shu Nianchu. Shu Nianchu stands her ground and doesn't dodge, thinking back to last year, when you were just a baby who needed to be carried. And now you can run around on your own. The corners of her lips curl up slightly. You hold Shu Nianchu's hand, smiling up at her foolishly. You completely ignore the fact that someone else followed right behind Su Nianchu, Sister Nianchu. Let's go over there. Only then do you notice Fang Yuan's presence. A year hasn't changed a thing. She's just as annoying as before. No way. Su Nianchu is mine. You grip Su Nianchu tightly, refusing to let go. Your constant babbling makes Fang Yuan curious. Can you still not talk? Seeing Fang Yuan look you up and down with pity, you're furious. You babble angrily, but to others, it just sounds like a bunch of gibberish. Suddenly, you wrap both arms around Shu Nianchu, looking up at her with a pitiful, wronged expression. Your eyes are big and watery. Fang Yuan is not happy about this. She pretends to trip and bumps into the table next to her. Crash. The glasses on the table tip over. Just as you turn your head to look, Shu Nianchu scoops you up into her arms. A sharp, shattering sound echoes through the hall. Glass shatters all over the floor. You blink your eyes. It takes a second for it to register that your child bride just saved you. Suddenly, you notice a huge, dark yellow stain on your clothes. Your heart aches to come see your child bride. You spent ages picking out this exact outfit. Sister Nianchu, are you okay? Did you get hurt anywhere? Fang Yuan asks cautiously. Heartbroken over your clothes, you feel a chill down your spine. You look up and meet Fang Yuan's reproachful gaze. Why is she looking at me like that? You replay the scene that just happened in your mind. You realize Fang Yuan was standing right next to the juice, which means Fang Yuan did it on purpose. If a tiger doesn't show its teeth, do you really think it's just a sick cat? Fang Yuan knows that with so many eyes watching, trying to deny it isn't realistic. I'm so sorry. My hand accidentally bumped the table. Fang Yuan apologizes with a pitiful look, making it seem like times the one bullying times her. You puff out your cheeks in anger, and then you catch her secretly smirking right after apologizing. You get even more furious. You're so mad you almost inflate like a pufferfish. Seeing your clothes ruined, Fang Yuan feels smug. Just as she tries to walk over to Xu Nianshu, her ankle bumps into something unknown. She loses her balance. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees you standing right next to her. Her pupils shrink in shock. When did you get right next to her? You pretend to be startled and run over to Xu Nianshu, hugging her tightly, like a frightened little rabbit scrambling for safety. Fang Yuan crashes heavily onto the hard floor. She props herself up on the floor. The people around her start whispering. Some even let out stifled laughs. When has Fang Yuan ever suffered such humiliation? Ignoring her scraped knees, she uses all her strength to stand up and stumbles away in tears. Xu Nianshu stares at you and takes a step back. You look at her, confused. You blink your big, innocent eyes. Those eyes look so soft, as if they could speak. What you don't know is, Xu Nianshu saw everything that just happened, including your little trick, learning to seek revenge for the smallest grievance at such a young age. Ran, what happened to your clothes? Hearing the commotion, Su Qianqian and Lin Mo rush over, only to see the stain on your outfit. A waiter nearby steps forward and gives a brief rundown of what just happened. Su Qianqian sighs helplessly. I'll take you to change your clothes first. You still have to cut the cake for Grandpa later. Su Qianqian doesn't give you a chance to refuse. She just scoops you up and walks away. You reach out your arms, staring at Xu Nianshu, but Xu Nianshu completely ignores you. This makes you feel incredibly disappointed. Why won't she even look at me? Does she hate me now? While your mind is running wild, you're brought to the dressing room upstairs. Just as you're changing your clothes, the door, which wasn't locked, clicks open. You hear your eldest sister's voice. Your body stiffens in shock. Seeing that Xu Nianshu is also there, you instinctively cover your chest with both hands and hide behind Su Qianqian. You whine and grumble in protest, perhaps because you're just too angry. You suddenly blurt out two incredibly clear words. Jerk. The three people in the room are stunned. He can talk, so he's not a mute after all. But throughout all of history, to have your very first words be an insult, you must be the only absolute weirdo to pull that off. Your doting sisters were terrified you'd be mute, making you wait until you were only able to babble. And now that you can finally speak, your first words are calling your child bride a jerk. At this moment, Lin Shiyuan takes a deep breath. Did you hear that just now? Ranran can talk, and he called us jerks, she asks Xu Nianshu, only to see a soft pink blush on Xu Nianshu's cheeks. Ha ha ha. So, even our ice beauty can blush and get shy. Xu Nianshu shoots her a cold glare and strides out of the room. 10 minutes later, Su Qianqian holds your hand as you both leisurely appear in the main hall. Seeing your adorable appearance, Grandpa Lin wants nothing more than to plant a big kiss on your cheek. Su Qianqian smiles and announces, Ranran can talk now. Grandpa Lin freezes for a moment. Then the smile on his face grows wider and wider. Not just Grandpa Lin, Lin Mo and the Lin sisters, upon hearing this, are also overjoyed. You're already getting a headache from your sister's noisy fussing. You think to yourself, I'm not some endangered animal. Why is everyone staring at me so weirdly? But considering today is Grandpa's 70th birthday, I'll just let him be happy. Grandpa, I really can talk now. Grandpa Lin is thrilled beyond words. He's been waiting for this day for so long. You really didn't let him down. Good. Ran. Come pick out a gift for yourself. Whichever of these gifts you like, just take it. Meanwhile, you sigh inwardly. Most of the things on the table are antiques. What do I need these for? But to keep Grandpa Lin from being disappointed, you pretend to browse through them. Out of the corner of your eye, you accidentally catch a glimpse of a familiar figure. Your body tenses up. It's him. Oh Jun, he actually came. A surge of pure rage rushes straight to your head. In my past life, he was the one who killed me. Ran, what's wrong? Lin Shiwan asks, a bit worried. Standing nearby, Xu Nianshu notices that your gaze is locked onto a specific spot, so she follows your line of sight. Jun, dressed sharply in a suit, presents an exquisite box right in front of Grandpa Lin. A dark glint flashes in Grandpa Lin's eyes. Jun's arrival is completely unexpected, because he never even invited the family. Grandpa Lin smiles politely. Jun opens the gift box. Inside rests a precious piece of porcelain. But the people present all have their own hidden thoughts. Jun's reputation in the business world isn't exactly stellar. Among the 4 major multinational corporations, he's the one who loves stirring up trouble the most. His underhanded tricks are too many to count. Grandpa Lin doesn't respond directly. Instead, he looks over at you. Seeing you staring intently at the porcelain, he gets curious. Ran, do you like this antique? If you like it, Grandpa will give it to you. I don't like it at all. You shake your head. The only reason you're staring at this antique is because this thing is a complete fake. For Jun to blatantly bring this piece of trash here, is he deliberately looking for trouble? The crowd watches as Tiny you snatch the porcelain, raise it high above your head with both hands, and smash it down. With a sharp, crisp crash, the antique shatters into pieces on the floor. Everyone is dumbfounded. A 100 million yuan antique, smashed just like that? This little young master of the Lin family really has some destructive hands. Fake. A soft, childish voice rings out, drawing everyone's eyes straight to you. Grandpa Lin realizes something is wrong. He carefully inspects the shards on the floor. Jun's face changes. He originally planned to gift a fake to disgust the Lin family, so that by the time they found out later, it would be too late. Who would have thought that with one smash from this little young master, it would prompt Grandpa Lin to inspect it personally? You notice his glare. You meet his eyes without a shred of fear, and even stick your tongue out at him. Mr. O, care to explain what is going on here? With my years of experience, this is clearly a forgery. For the dignified head of the O group, to bring a fake to celebrate Elder Lin's birthday. Number 7 is incredibly disrespectful. Wu Jun's plan to humiliate the Lin family goes up in smoke. He has no choice but to pivot. Elder Lin, this is truly a misunderstanding. I will have someone bring over another grand gift, to make up for my mistake. Grandpa Lin ignores him. He turns around and scoops you up. Ran, you really are Grandpa's lucky star. From now on, whenever Grandpa goes antique hunting, I'm definitely bringing you along. You also join in and start laughing with him. Seeing Wu Jun fail so miserably, how could you not laugh? We have plenty of time. I have all the time in the world to get my revenge. At the birthday banquet, you finally spoke. It's a double blessing. We can't let someone like Ojun ruin the mood. Your earlier actions terrified Su Qianqian. She absolutely refuses to believe that her 2-year-old son can already appraise antiques. So, to prevent you from pulling another stunt like today, she holds you tightly, leaving you completely helpless. I can't just stay by mommy's side forever. I still need to go find my child bride. If I don't spend more time with her, how can we cultivate feelings like this? Luckily, eldest sister Lin Shiyuan walked over at the end. Only then did you escape the sea of suffering. Ran, while everyone is here, let's give Grandpa his gifts. Only then did you remember this matter. You originally wanted to go find Shu Nianchu, but you were forcefully carried by your sister to Old Master Lin. You felt a bit of despair inside. If I can't get a wife in this life, it's definitely because these sisters held me back. Holding a scroll in both hands, you walked toward Old Master Lin. Happy birthday, Grandpa. With Lin Shiyuan's help, you unrolled the scroll. Inside, it impressively displayed a very immature show longevity character. Although the strokes were a bit crooked, the brushwork was well structured. Old Master Lin couldn't help but be startled, his face full of disbelief. Ran, did you write this? The other sisters were also extremely surprised. He just learned how to speak, and he can already write? Is their little brother a child prodigy? Old Master Lin held the piece of calligraphy fondly, admiring it carefully. He was actually so excited that tears welled up in his eyes. Good. As expected of our Lin family's young master, it took Lin Mo and Su Qianqian a long time to snap out of it. Ran, who taught you this calligraphy? Their kid was only 2 years old, and he already knows calligraphy. You tilted your innocent little face up. Grandpa? The couple looked at Old Master Lin in unison. Even Old Master Lin himself looked bewildered. Then, he suddenly realized something, and burst into loud laughter. Ha. Ran must have watched me practice calligraphy a lot, and after seeing it so much, he just learned it. A genius. Truly worthy of being my grandson. I'm going to frame this Shu character, and put it in the most prominent spot in the living room. I want everyone to know that my grandson is a calligraphy genius. Your toes curled against the floor, wishing you could dig a 3-bedroom apartment out of sheer embarrassment. Grandpa must have some serious social extrovert syndrome. This is so frustrating. How am I supposed to face anyone now? The news that you could write calligraphy at 2 years old, and that you identified a fake antique at the birthday banquet, spread like wildfire. Everyone in the business world heard that the Lin family had a genius. Old Master Lin was absolutely reveling in it. Grandpa treated you like his little lucky charm, wanting to take you with him everywhere he went. Today, taking advantage of his son and daughter-in-law not being home, he took you to the antique market. Old Master Lin held your hand and walked up to a stall. After looking around for a while, he picked up a jade bracelet, examined it, then sighed and put it back down. Seeing this, the seller took the initiative to strike up a conversation with Old Master Lin. While the old man was chatting away with the seller, he noticed you rummaging through a pile of miscellaneous items at the front of the shop, and picking out an extremely inconspicuous stone. Seeing you looking so thoughtful, Old Master Lin asked, Ran, are you sure you want this one? Old Master Lin loved antiques, but he wasn't very knowledgeable about stone gambling. You nodded, your eyes sparkling with golden light. Don't be fooled by this stone's plain appearance. There's actually a whole universe hidden inside. Boss, name your price. This stone is a top-grade raw jade from the Moxisha mine. 100,000. The seller, annoyed by Old Master Lin's earlier nitpicking, felt displeased, so he deliberately marked up the stone's price tenfold. He had bought this raw stone for 10,000 yuan. It had been sitting there for 3 years with no one taking a fancy to it. Now that he finally ran into someone with more money than sense, he had to fleece them good. After paying, you hugged the stone that was half your height, refusing to let go. Cut it for me. You ordered, like a commanding boss. The boss happily took the money, and put on a pleasant face again. Once bought, it's out of my hands. Whether it cuts a profit or a loss has nothing to do with my shop. Boss, hurry up and cut it. What a joke. Once this stone is cut, its value is going to skyrocket. I'm not stupid enough to share the money with the shop owner. With a wave of your hand, you directed the process. The boss followed your instructions and made a mark on the stone. The boss widened the window on the stone. The originally thin, long water line became much wider. The transparency reached the highest grade. A crowd of onlookers had gathered around. Seeing that the stone had only just been opened with a window, they couldn't help but start bidding. Old Master Lin sneered. Not selling. Who was it just now that said I had no eye for this? The boss gritted his teeth and cut another slice down. That clear, emerald green water line grew even wider. Looking at the quality of that water line, it was already approaching imperial green. Old Master Lin clenched his fists tightly, feeling extremely excited inside. Keep cutting, the old man urged. Unexpectedly, just as the boss was about to make the third cut, you suddenly spoke up. Make this cut horizontally. Everyone was startled. This young master might be small in age, but he sure talks big. I'm afraid his greed is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. The crowd began to chatter and discuss among themselves, but you ignored the outsider's remarks, your sharp eyes fixed intently on the stone. Under the tense and excited gazes of the crowd, the first horizontal cut was completed. They saw that the water line, which originally looked like a trickling stream, extended inward, becoming incredibly wide. Clear and translucent, its quality had completely reached the standard of imperial green jade. The boss slumped to the ground. He never imagined that the piece of junk in his eyes would actually be cut by a little young master to reveal a value of tens of millions. Later, let's turn this jade into a family portrait set. You stroked the smooth imperial green jade, grinning from ear to ear. At the Lin Group, Lin Mo had just finished a meeting when he saw his secretary rushing over. President, a call for you. Hello? Is this Mr. Lin? What? Your family members are causing a scene at the antique street. Please come and take your family members back immediately. What's going on? The person on the other end explained what you and the old man had been doing in full detail. Old Master Lin had taken you to the antique market and went on an absolute sweep. After one round, you two became the most famous people in the antique market. But the shop owners suffered miserably, running their small businesses. Not only were their fakes exposed on the spot, but because you kept picking up massive bargains, it caused them to collectively shut down in despair. So, all the shop owners on the entire street banded together, reported this duo, one old, one young, to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau and filed a complaint against the antique market. Old Master Lin took the stone and handed it to you. Before you could even start inspecting it, you heard a familiar voice ring out from behind. Dad, Ren. You and Old Master Lin exchanged a glance. You immediately thought, we're doomed. We got caught red-handed. Lin Mo, dressed in a sharp suit, walked over step by step. You put down the stone, ran up to your daddy, and hugged his thigh tightly. Tilting your head up, you smiled sweetly. Daddy! Lin Mo was originally about to lose his temper, but seeing your big, watery eyes, his heart instantly melted into a puddle. He bent down and picked you up, looking resentfully at Old Master Lin. Dad, how could you bring Ran to a place like this, with so many people, and so much chaos? Don't just satisfy your own hobbies, and make Ran suffer along with you. Old Master Lin couldn't stand this kind of nagging. His face fell. I just brought Ran out to relax. How is that bad for Ran? Besides, Ran is happy being with me. Do you even have time to take him out? The old man's words left Lin Mo completely speechless. Helpless, he stepped aside to make way for the old man, then carried you and followed him out of the antique market. And the story of what you and Old Master Lin did at the antique market spread throughout the entire antique circle in less than a day. To prevent you from being dragged to the antique market again, the Lin couple conspired to arrange early education classes for you. The sun was high in the sky. The teacher had already stepped into the Lin family's old mansion. You looked out the window and saw a woman standing in the courtyard, about 25 years old, wearing a taekwondo uniform. You looked up at your daddy, your eyes full of confusion. Don't tell me they want me to learn taekwondo. I'm only 2 years old. In the brief moment you were dazed, Lin Mo had already swiftly dressed you up and presented you in front of the coach. Young Master Lin, I will be your taekwondo teacher from now on. Please take care of me. You also gave the coach a standard bow. This action stunned everyone present, but your next move was even more unexpected. Wah! You let out a loud roar and charged forward on your little short legs. Before the coach could even react, you used your agile body to maneuver around her and ended up riding on the coach's neck. Ran, get down quickly. Lin Mo, worried that you might fall, repeatedly tried to stop you, but it was too late. Using all the strength you had, you gave a hard squeeze. The petite coach screamed in pain. Help! I quit being a coach. You didn't want to make things difficult for her, so hearing her voluntarily admit defeat, you loosened your grip around the back of her neck. Then, the teacher fainted straight onto the ground. Seeing that things had gone south, Lin Mo hurriedly had the butler call a doctor. Everyone froze for a few seconds before snapping back to reality. Goodness, Ran is way too amazing. He knocked out a taekwondo black belt master with just one move. Lin Shuing had been standing on the sidelines the whole time. Only now did she recover from her shock and gave you a big thumbs up. But when she saw Su Qianxian rushing over, she quickly and silently retracted her thumb. Mommy was angry. The consequences would be severe. You felt very wronged. I really didn't do it on purpose. How was I supposed to know that a black belt taekwondo coach couldn't even handle the body of a 2-year-old toddler? She clearly didn't want to lose her temper, but she couldn't spoil you either. Go to your room and reflect on your actions. You are not allowed to come downstairs without my permission. Half an hour later, the coach woke up, staring at the unfamiliar ceiling. Her head felt a bit dizzy. Su Qianxian carefully helped her sit up and smiled awkwardly. I'm truly sorry. My son is usually quite mischievous. I'm sorry you had to suffer through that. Saying that, she took out a bank card. This is a small token of my apology. Please accept it, coach. The coach recalled the scene from earlier and took the bank card with a complex expression. Mrs. Lin, your son is truly extraordinary. Hearing this, Su Qianqian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Before the coach left, she repeatedly instructed her to keep today's incident a secret. Seeing her agree, Su Qianqian finally breathed a sigh of relief. At 7 p.m., Old Master Lin stared at the rice in his bowl. Suddenly, the dishes in front of him didn't seem appetizing anymore. Lin Mo felt the same way. Both of them were wondering if you were hungry right now. But since Su Qianqian hadn't spoken, they didn't dare to ask. You lay on your bed, your stomach growling with hunger. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Your eyes lit up. Could it be that mommy is letting me eat? Ranran, are you hungry? It was the voice of your fourth sister, Lin Yuxia. Lin Yuxia rubbed your head affectionately. Fourth sister will take you to the kitchen to find something good to eat. You hesitated a bit. What if mommy finds out? What if she gets even angrier? Lin Yuxia said mysteriously. Xingyu is keeping watch for us outside. Let's go downstairs quietly. You couldn't help but think, good lord, it's a gang operation. You figured that just this once, you probably wouldn't get caught. So, you eagerly followed your fourth sister to the kitchen. But to your surprise, there was hardly any food left in the kitchen. Looking at the fridge, you couldn't help but sigh. Mommy probably cleared out the kitchen's inventory a long time ago. But where there's a policy from above, there's a countermeasure from below. This won't stop me. At this moment, Lin Yuxia thought she was hearing things. You're going to cook by yourself? You know how to cook? She fired off questions in rapid succession. The more she looked at your serious face, the more surreal it felt to Lin Yuxia. A 2-year-old toddler was actually shamelessly boasting about cooking. Ranran, you're not even as tall as the stove. Seeing that Lin Yuxia absolutely didn't believe you, you angrily put your hands on your hips. I'm going to show off my skills today and open her eyes. You rolled up your sleeves and got right to work. 10 minutes later, Lin Yuxia stared dumbfounded at the 2 bowls of plain noodles in front of her. Each bowl was topped with a fried egg. When did he learn how to cook noodles? Most importantly, he even knows how to fry an egg. At this moment, Lin Yuxia's heart was filled with absolute worship for you. In the quiet kitchen, only the sound of slurping could be heard. Late at night, Su Qianqian was having trouble sleeping, even though she had punished you. Thinking about how her little young master hadn't eaten, she felt a bit heartbroken, so she couldn't resist coming over to check on you. Who knew she would find that you weren't in your room at all? Instead, the lights were still on in the direction of the kitchen. She quietly followed the light, and then she saw an unbelievable scene. You 2 siblings were leaning over the kitchen counter, your heads practically buried in your bowls. Ranran, the noodles you made are so delicious. Lin Yuxia hadn't noticed her mother's presence at all. What are you doing? Su Qianqian suddenly spoke up, scaring the 2 of you into letting out a shriek. We're doomed. We're doomed. Mommy caught us sneaking food. Lin Yuxia tried to hide the bowls and chopsticks, but it was already too late. Is it good? Catching her 2 children sneaking food red-handed, Su Qianqian was actually no longer angry inside, but on the surface, she still had to pretend to be mad. Mommy, I'll share the noodles I cooked with you. You tried to use good food to win over your mother while deliberately acting cute and innocent. Su Qianqian was shocked. You made both of these bowls of noodles. Lin Yuxia nodded hastily. Ranran really made them. Mommy, just take a bite and you'll know how amazing Ranran's cooking is. It's even better than what you make, Mommy. She received a cold glare from her mother, and only then realized she had said the wrong thing. She sheepishly lowered her head. In the end, you were dragged back to your room, while Lin Yuxia was given a scolding. That night, you slept very soundly. Su Qianqian and Lin Mo discussed it all night, deciding that letting you run wild like this wouldn't do. They had to correct your behavior immediately. So the next day, you were sent to a music room. Little Ranran, which instrument would you like to learn? The teacher asked patiently. Auntie, can I play that one? You pointed at the piano right in the center. The teacher smiled and nodded, thinking to herself what a cute child you were, and that you seemed to have quite an affinity for the piano. You tilted your head and stared into the teacher's eyes, smirking inwardly. Mommy is really something else. Isn't making me learn an instrument just a waste of time? I want to properly enjoy my childhood. Instantly, an intense rhythm rang out. The teacher was so shocked, her jaw nearly dropped. Beethoven's Sonata in C major, first movement. This child. The teacher collapsed onto the floor, propping herself up with both hands as she stared at you. 3 hours later, Su Qianqian came to pick you up, humming a song. As soon as she reached the door, you hugged her leg. The teacher still hadn't recovered from her shock. She said blankly, Mrs. Lin, I can't teach this child. I'm sorry. Then the door was shut. Su Qianqian blinked and glanced down at you. Her good mood from earlier vanished instantly. What did you do to the teacher this time? You spread your hands and shrugged innocently. I didn't do anything. The plan for you to learn an instrument had to be cancelled. Everyone in the family thought that you had no talent for learning musical instruments, so they had to drop it. What are we going to do? Now no teacher dares to come to our house. Do you know what rumors are spreading outside? Su Qianqian leaned into Lin Mo's embrace, her face full of worry. If we keep spoiling Ranran like this, how is he going to find a girlfriend when he grows up? Who would dare to marry him? I don't care. I'm planning to send Ranran to kindergarten. Let him interact more with other kids. The next day, Lin Mo informed the old man. Old Master Lin sat on the sofa without saying a word, but his brow furrowed deeper and deeper. Sending his grandson to school? That meant that for an entire day, he wouldn't be able to see his grandson for 8 whole hours. The moment he thought of this, he was a million times against it. But this was his daughter-in-law's idea, so he couldn't just reject it outright. Suddenly, he turned his attention to his other granddaughters. I don't mind. Ask them. If they don't mind Ranran leaving, then you can send him to kindergarten. Lin Shuing was the first to speak. I'm the first to raise my hand in agreement. Ranran is too noisy at home. Once he's gone, I can play whatever I want. Lin Yusha pouted. I disagree. Ranran is so small. If he goes to kindergarten, what if he gets bullied by the other kids? Lin Xingyu nodded in agreement. Fourth sister is right. Ranran is the most timid. He'll be sad and heartbroken if he can't see us. Lin Jihao listened, half understanding. No, old Master Lin smiled. You see, the kids make a lot of sense. Ranran is still young. Let's just drop it for now. Lin Shiyuan pondered for a long time, before finally speaking up. I think we can be Ranran's teachers. I'll teach him how to write. I'll teach him math. Lin Ruoxu, who rarely spoke, also chimed in. Lin Shuing stroked her chin and thought, then I'll teach him how to play video games. I still have a bunch of games I haven't beaten yet. Su Qianqian walked straight over, carrying you. She freed up one hand, and gave Lin Shuing a heavy knock on the head. Mommy, don't send Ranran to school. Lin Jiahe grabbed onto the hem of Su Qianqian's clothes, pleading pitifully. Your mouth twitched. My good sisters really know how to look out for me. Thanks a lot. You gritted your teeth. Under the strong pleas of the 6 children, Su Qianqian had no choice but to drop the idea for now. But these past few days, your sisters had suffered. They used every trick in the book to train you, nearly driving you to schizophrenia. Ranran, did you learn it? If not, we'll practice it another 100 times today. Mommy is going to check later. Lin Shiyuan's words sounded like the monk Tang chanting the headache spell in your ears. Who can save me from this sea of suffering? On Friday, you asked your sisters for a day off, preparing to cook dinner for Grandpa in the kitchen tonight. As the sun set, over a dozen dishes were served on the table. The lavish dinner made everyone present feel a bit curious. Old Master Lin was surprised. What's the special occasion tonight? Su Qianqian and Lin Mo exchanged a glance and shook their heads. Grandpa, I made it. You proudly climbed down from your chair and ran to the old man's side. You made it? Ha ha ha. Ranran, lying doesn't make you a good boy. Just then the chef walked over, wiping his sweat. Elder Lin, these dishes were indeed all made by the young master. I just helped out on the side. I can testify to that. Really? Old Master Lin was shocked. My precious grandson, you're amazing. Who said you have no talent? Your sisters are nothing compared to you. Grandpa, I got hurt. You deliberately showed the blister on your arm. How did this happen? Quick, get the first aid kit. Old Master Lin examined it nervously, his heart aching terribly when he saw the blister. Seeing that the timing was right, you started to play the victim. Grandpa, I want to go to kindergarten. You finally revealed your true goal. Only then did the old man realize what was going on. He felt very helpless. Ranran, you're still too young. You'd have to adapt to going to school. Let's wait until next year. You angrily put your hands on your hips. Grandpa, if you don't let me go to school, don't ever ask me to go to the antique market with you again. The old man fell into deep thought. Sending him to kindergarten was out of the question. Oh right. Old Master Lin remembered what happened at his birthday banquet, and his eyes lit up. Ranran, are you interested in calligraphy? Grandpa happens to have an old friend, who is a big shot in the calligraphy world. You pouted and hesitated. To say you weren't interested in calligraphy would be a lie. But what if the teacher he found wasn't up to your standards? Who is it? Old Master Helen. But you wouldn't know him even if I told you. Grandpa will contact that old geezer right now. Tomorrow, I'll take you to visit him personally. Hearing the name Helen, you instantly perked up. Old Master Helen was a grand master in the literary world. In your past life, you had tried to visit him many times, but because you lacked the qualifications, you couldn't even get through the door. However, Old Master Helen's whereabouts were always elusive. Old Master Lin could only send people to keep watch. After several months passed, they finally learned that Old Master Helen had returned to his old residence. Old Master Lin immediately took you to the courtyard, afraid that the old geezer would run off again. Who is it? A childish, milky voice rang out. Following that, a 6 or 7-year-old boy walked toward them. Old Master Lin paused for a moment, then burst into laughter. You must be Helen's grandson. Helen, you, right? Your grandpa and I agreed to come for an apprenticeship. Impossible. My grandpa hasn't taken a disciple in over 30 years. Even I could only become a disciple under my master. How could he possibly take a milk-drinking baby as a disciple? Who is your master? You pressed him for an answer. Feng Yexu. Her current status in the literary world is quite high. Speaking of his master, Helan Yu looked rather proud. You quickly recalled that the person was a woman, and she had indeed achieved quite a lot in the literary field. But well, you felt that if you were going to take a master, it had to be the best one. You patted Helen Yu's shoulder with feigned maturity. From now on, I'll be your little martial uncle. Just then, a white-bearded old man walked into the courtyard. His hair at the temples was white, but he looked very energetic. You must be Grandpa Helen, right? You blinked your eyes, looking completely innocent and naive. Grandpa Helen, I'm here to become your apprentice. Can I be your disciple? Old Master Helen hadn't heard words like this in a long time. He laughed heartily. I don't take disciples anymore, but seeing how cute you are, I can let you study under one of my disciples and practice together with my grandson. How about that? Helen Yu was the first to object. This little young master is too mischievous. He's definitely full of bad ideas. I don't want to be his senior brother. Grandpa Helen, this poem you wrote, is it mourning someone who passed away? You leaned over the desk, your expression serious. Old Master Helen suddenly froze, unable to stop himself from choking up a bit. Today was the 10th anniversary of his wife's passing. This calligraphy was written for his late wife. However, he had written this poem very obscurely. To anyone else, it just looked like a poem praising the winter landscape. How did this little toddler see through it? What's your name? You answered in a soft, milky voice, Ran. Lin Ran. Good name, Old Master Helen murmured, seeing this old guy Helen looking at his grandson with such a peculiar gaze. Old Master Lin, who had just hurried over, felt that in the very next second, his precious grandson was going to be kidnapped. He couldn't help but say, Ran, you ran so fast, Grandpa couldn't even catch up. Helen, this is my grandson. He's extremely talented in calligraphy. I brought him here specifically for you to take a look. Seeing his old friend, Old Master Helen smiled brightly. Do you think I don't know what you're plotting? I've been hiding from you for months, but I guess I still couldn't escape. Helen sighed. Fine, let him write a character first so I can see. Your eyes lit up. There was hope. I have to give it my all this time. Right now, you were facing Old Master Helen's test. You picked up the brush, your wrist flicking gracefully, the brush moving like dragons and snakes. A powerful, penetrating Ling spirit character leaped onto the paper. Old Master Helen's eyes nearly popped out of his head, the strength behind every stroke. This kind of seasoned, masterful brushwork. An ordinary person would need at least 5 years of bitter practice to achieve this, but the person in front of him was just a 3 or 4-year-old toddler. Your grandpa watched, looking utterly shocked, like someone who had never seen the world. His chin was practically pointing to the sky. This was his own biological grandson. How is it? I taught him hand in hand since he was a baby. Pretty impressive, right? Old Master Helen stroked his beard, his brows relaxing, nodding like a woodpecker. You carefully set down the brush, tilted your innocent little face up, and blinked your big eyes, acting cute. Grandpa Helen, how did I do? You were actually sincerely asking for guidance. Although to keep a low profile this time, you only used 50% of your true skill. Who told you to be a kid with an adult's mind? You didn't dare be too flashy. Who knew Old Master Helen would suddenly pivot? The structure is decent, but unfortunately, the proportions are lacking. You haven't pushed it to its absolute limit. What? Even though it was a mix of praise and criticism, your chest instantly felt tight. If I had known, I wouldn't have held back. This was your idol. Being looked down upon by your idol felt 10,000 times worse than losing money. In reality, Old Master Helen was already going crazy with excitement inside. Aside from that one girl in the world, this kid was absolutely the second peerless genius. Your grandpa wasn't having it. He stepped forward, pushed Helen aside, grabbed your hand, and blew his top. You old geezer, are you taking him or not? If not, I'm taking Lin Ran away right now. We don't need to take this crap from you. You could tell grandpa was genuinely angry and was about to turn and leave. Hey, old Lin, you misunderstood. Old Master Helen instantly panicked and quickly blocked your path. I was just so shocked that I misspoke. This child must stay. No matter what, he has to stay. Your mood was like a roller coaster, instantly going from cloudy to sunny. Really? Grandpa Helen is taking me as his disciple. Then I can practice calligraphy with my idol every day. Lin Ran, hurry up and serve the tea. Grandpa provided the perfect assist from the side. You quickly took the hot tea handed over by his servant, respectfully brought it forward, and performed a standard apprenticeship bow. Master, please drink tea. Seeing your obedient, sensible, and lovable appearance, Old Master Helen grinned from ear to ear. With this cup of tea down, you had officially entered his tutelage. Immediately after, you sharply turned your head to look at Helen Yu beside you, your eyes full of teasing. How about it? I told you I'd be your little martial uncle, right? Helen Yu's face turned green with anger. Back then, he had to beg his grandpa endlessly just to be accepted into the sect. Now, this milk-drinking baby got in so easily. He was furious, but you had no intention of letting him off the hook. Come on, be a good boy. Hurry up and call me little martial uncle. You smiled innocently, but inside, you were fiercely holding a grudge. How dare you look down on me earlier? If I don't get my revenge, my name isn't Lin Ran. Have you forgotten the rules of the house? Old Master Helen frowned, his previous amiability instantly turning into strict authority. Suppressed by his own grandfather's aura, Helen Yu could only accept his defeat. Reluctantly, he bowed to you and paid his respects. Greetings, little martial uncle. Good boy. Little martial uncle will cover you from now on. You deliberately used this tone to piss him off. Seeing Helen Yu's ugly expression, but knowing he didn't dare lash out, you felt absolutely thrilled inside. Grandpa pretended to scold you. Lin Ran, no being mischievous. You knew when to stop. After all, you'd be seeing each other all the time from now on. Drawing too much aggro could easily backfire. Who knew Old Master Helen would just wave his hand? It's fine. Since the hierarchy is set, the etiquette cannot be abandoned. It's a good opportunity to dull this brat's arrogance and let him know that there's always someone better out there. This reverse assist was absolutely brilliant. Old Lin, since you're already here, stay for dinner. It'll give me a chance to bond with Lin Ran. Your grandpa immediately looked displeased. There's a whole bunch of people waiting for us at home. We won't stay. There will be plenty of time later. What's the rush? A sly glint flashed in Old Master Helen's eyes. It's rare for me to take a disciple. Tonight at 8 o'clock, to officially introduce Lin Ran. Otherwise, people might think Helen, am being stingy. Immediately after, he dropped an even bigger bombshell. Besides, since he's my disciple now, He has to stay here to learn his craft. He can't just leave whenever he wants. Your grandpa's face instantly darkened. Why didn't you say so earlier? You didn't ask. Your grandpa was out of options. Although he was annoyed, he also knew that while this old man only taught calligraphy, his disciples were spread across all industries, giving him immense connections. Leaving you here wasn't just about learning calligraphy, it was paving the way for your future. Thus, the Helen family immediately released the news. Tonight at 8 p.m., a banquet would be held to accept a new disciple. Helen Yu stood off to the side, watching his grandpa place so much importance on you. A mere toddler, he felt incredibly sour inside. But what was the use of being jealous? Just based on that Ling character you casually wrote earlier, your skills had already completely crushed him. As soon as the news broke, the entire industry completely exploded. Various big shots in the literary world dropped what they were doing and rushed back in a frenzy. They all wanted to see with their own eyes exactly who had the heaven-defying ability to make the reclusive. Old Master Helen personally hosted a banquet to take them in as a disciple. This level of prestige was simply boundless. As night fell, the atmosphere in the main hall was a bit bizarre. You were chatting passionately with Grandpa Helen about calligraphy, the two of you hitting it off like old friends, completely leaving your own biological grandpa out in the cold. Watching the two of you, one old and one young, laughing and talking, your grandpa's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He couldn't even stomach his favorite pu'er tea anymore. The sour smell of jealousy was overwhelming. Right at that moment, Helen Yu came running in hurriedly, lifting the hem of his tang suit. Grandpa, the senior and junior brothers have all returned. Old Master Helen set down his brush and rubbed your little forehead. Nervous? You shook your head like a rattle drum. There wasn't a trace of fear in your eyes. Instead, they were filled with excitement. Are you kidding me? This isn't a battlefield. This is clearly a massive fan meet and greet. Ha ha ha! As expected of my disciple. Old Master Helen laughed loudly, but then his tone shifted. Stick close to me later. With me around, they won't dare make things too difficult for you. What do you mean too difficult? Hearing this, your grandpa instantly blew up. He stood up abruptly. If they dare bully my Lin Ran, I'll tear this courtyard down. Old Master Helen just shook his head helplessly and looked at you, with profound meaning. If you want these arrogant disciples and grand disciples to willingly acknowledge you, Lin Ran, you'll have to show your true skills and properly face them. Your heart skipped a beat. Crap. Did he find out? You thought your disguise was flawless, even fooling your own grandpa. But the man in front of you was, after all, a titan of the calligraphy world. When you deliberately messed up earlier to hide your skills, did you actually expose a flaw instead? This is bad. If I had known, I would have just gone all out. Then I wouldn't have to deal with all this hassle. By now, the main hall was already buzzing with voices. 200 to 300 people packed the venue tightly. Everyone was discussing the exact same topic. That 3.5-year-old little martial uncle. Did Master go crazy from staying on the mountain too long? Finding a milk-drinking baby to pass the time. The one speaking was second senior brother, Kang Gouda, a current calligraphy professor with students all over the world. Beside him, eldest senior brother Wen Yuezhang looked stern, offering no comment. Third senior sister Feng Yexue was a legend in the literary world and the sole heir to the Feng family. Her arrogance soared to the skies. Feng Yexue rolled her eyes at second senior brother, turning to look at Helen Yu, who just walked in. How did it go? Don't worry, Master. Everything is ready. As soon as Ling Ran gets here. Hehe, we'll definitely teach him a lesson. It seems this gang had already set up a trap, just waiting for you to jump right in. Even the usually honest eldest senior brother was secretly plotting how to make things difficult. Suddenly, a hearty laugh echoed out. Ha ha ha! Is everyone here? The next second, a shocking scene unfolded. Over 100 disciples stood up in unison, their movements perfectly synchronized. Bowing with both hands, their voices boomed like a giant bell. Master, Grand Master. This grand display. This aura was simply deafening. When everyone raised their heads and saw the person standing next to the old master, it was actually a chubby, jade-like 3-year-old toddler. The entire hall instantly fell dead silent. Jaws dropped to the floor. You blinked your big, innocent eyes, curiously sizing up this group of juniors. Finally, your gaze locked onto the 3 big shots at the very front. No need to guess. These were the 3 senior brothers and sister that you absolutely had to win over. You immediately launched your cute offensive, trying to bluff your way through. Feng Yexue seemingly turned her head away coldly, but the tips of her ears quietly turned red, screaming internally, "He's way too cute. I really want to pinch his cheeks." Kang Gouda, however, chuckled and leaned in. "Master, this must be our little junior brother, right? You really have a great eye." Saying that, he reached out to touch you. You looked at his wrinkled, smiling face, and alarm bells instantly went off in your head. Why is this weird uncle looking at me so creepily? Pervert. You instinctively shrank back, dodging his touch with a look of utter disgust. Kang Gouda's hand froze in midair, so awkward at his toes, could curl through the floor. He just wanted to show some goodwill, and he actually got rejected by a toddler. Well, if that's how it is, then don't blame your senior brother for not holding back. He wiped the smile off his face, a glint of sharp light flashing in his eyes. Right in front of hundreds of people, he directly threw out the first test question. Little junior brother, let second senior brother test you. What are the other names for calligraphy? This was the most basic giveaway question. If you couldn't even answer this, Grandpa Helen would lose all his face. You blinked your big eyes, and your soft, milky voice instantly rang out. Calligraphy is also known as character painting and ink treasure. Second senior brother, am I right? The simple answer only fueled Kang Gaoda's drive. His eyes darted around, wanting to completely probe your depths. Do you know the historical evolution of calligraphy? The entire hall instantly fell silent. For a 3.5-year-old child, this question was simply hell-level difficulty. Healing you beside you couldn't help but interject to show off, but was immediately scolded by old Master Helen. Nonsense. Stand properly. The old master's heart was in his throat. He was just about to ask your second senior brother to change to an easier question. After all, hurting your self-esteem wouldn't do. Who knew you didn't need an out at all? You looked calm and started speaking effortlessly. The evolution of calligraphy fonts and calligraphy itself reached its peak during the Wei and Jin dynasties. It was both an ending period and a period of integration, from oracle bone script and bronze script to large seal and small seal scripts, and then to the cursive, regular, and running scripts of the Han dynasty. In one breath, you explained everything from the Shang and Zhou dynasties to the stele and copybook debates of the Qing dynasty. Your logic was clear, and the density of your knowledge points made everyone's scalp tingle. A deathly silence fell over the room. The hundreds of people present were dumbfounded, looking at you as if they were looking at an alien. Is this something a 3.5-year-old kid can understand? This reserve of knowledge is simply an absolute mismatch. Watching everyone praise you endlessly, Helen Yu's eyes turned red with extreme jealousy. I know all of this too. Kang Gaoda ruthlessly twisted the knife. I remember you only learned this when you were 6. Lin Ran is only 3.5. The roaring laughter of the crowd felt like a slap right across Helen Yu's face. His face flushed the color of pig liver. He looked to his master for help. After receiving tacit approval, he gritted his teeth and issued a challenge. I want to compete with him in reciting poetry. The good show was about to begin. Kang Gaoda loved a good spectacle, and Feng Yexue directly set the rules. The theme is the word moon. 1 line per person. 1 minute of thinking time. If you can't follow up, you lose. Old Master Helen nodded in agreement. Helen Yu immediately jumped out impatiently. I'll go first. He was anxious. He desperately wanted to snatch back his spotlight. Originally, he was the genius, surrounded by stars, but now he was being overshadowed by you. A milk-drinking baby who appeared out of nowhere. How could he swallow this anger? People have sorrow and joy, parting and reunion. The moon is dark and bright, waxing and waning. Helen Yu straightened his back, brimming with confidence. He sneered inwardly. This brat insists on throwing himself at the gun muzzle, competing in poetry with someone who possesses an adult's soul. Isn't that just digging his own grave? You calmly accepted the challenge. When will the bright moon appear? With a cup of wine in hand, I asked the blue sky. At this moment, the peanut gallery wasn't idle either. They actually started a betting pool. 10,000 bucks. I bet Helen Yu wins. I'm betting on Helen Yu too. Most people felt you were bound to lose. After all, you were only 3 years old. The history from earlier might have been rote memorization, but how could your poetry vocabulary compete with an older kid's? However, a shocking scene occurred. Kang Gaoda and Feng Yexue, these two big shots, actually placed their bets on you at the same time. I bet on little junior brother winning. The crowd was stunned. Were they just giving old Master Helen face, or did they really think this milk-drinking baby could defy the heavens? After several rounds of back and forth, the situation drastically changed. Helen Yu's forehead was covered in cold sweat. His fists clenched tightly. He was racking his brains, searching for lines of poetry. His entire body was tense to the extreme. In contrast, not only did you look completely relaxed, you even had the time to bargain with old Master Helen. Master, if I win, what's my reward? The old master laughed heartily. Ha ha ha, I'll agree to whatever you want. Pinky promise. Watching this old man and young child interact like nobody else was around. Healing Yu, standing opposite them, was so angry his lungs were about to explode. Now seeing your interaction with his grandpa, he was absolutely furious. We're in the middle of a competition. Helen Yu puffed out his cheeks, looking like a pufferfish as he yelled at you. You blinked your big, innocent eyes. Yeah, I am competing with you. Is there a problem? You're not allowed to talk to my grandpa. How is this a competition? It's clearly a fight for favor. You have no manners at all. Hurry up and apologize to your martial uncle. Old Master Helen blew up on the spot, forcing the arrogant little genius to call you a 3-year-old toddler, martial uncle. He just couldn't do it. He'd rather die than submit. Looking at his flushed red face, you sighed inwardly. Looks like I have to use my ultimate move. Otherwise, how long is this farce going to drag on? You took a deep breath, and your childish voice rang out like thunder. In the 7th month, out in the fields. In the 8th month, under the eaves. In the 9th month, at the door. In the 10th month, the cricket enters under my bed. This poem is from the Book of Songs, 7th month. After you finished speaking, the whole room fell dead silent. The smile on Kang Gaoda's lips instantly burst out. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. One poem contains 4 different months. Helen Yu, if you can't come up with a line that also contains 4 months, then you lose this round. The rest didn't need to be said. Everyone understood. This was a complete mismatch in skill level. Helen Yu's nails dug deeply into his flesh. His brain was working in overdrive, but it was completely blank. Let alone him, even an adult, would have to bow down to this stroke of genius. Feng Yexue's eyes were practically glowing as she stared at you. How is this just a disciple? This is like finding a literal treasure. After a few seconds of dead silence, Helen Yu finally lowered his proud head. I lost. In that moment, his pride was utterly crushed by you. Good. Feng Yexue took the lead in applauding. Thunderous applause erupted. You calmly bowed forward to express your thanks, looking exactly like a triumphant general. Old Master Helen was so excited he kept slapping Old Master Lin's shoulder. Your grandson is a genius, a peerless genius. Old Master Lin's grin stretched from ear to ear. Of course, there are no losers in my Lin family. Meanwhile, Helan Yu looked like an abandoned puppy, staring pitifully at his master. Feng Yexue walked over. He just wanted some comfort. Master, I'm sorry. I lost. Feng Yexue replied coldly. The next second, a scene that made everyone's jaws drop occurred. She actually walked right past Helan Yu, rushed straight to you, and scooped you up in her arms. She planted a big kiss on your little face. Little junior brother, how are you so cute? Hang out with your senior sister from now on. I've got your back. Whoever dares to bully you, I'll kill them. Helan Yu stood frozen in the cold wind, completely shattered. His master had been stolen a wooden grab. Your face was being squished out of shape. Just as you were about to struggle free, you met Helan Yu's complicated gaze. He looked at you like you were a bully who had stolen his candy. After an intense internal struggle, Helan Yu finally stepped forward, cupped his hands, and bowed. Martial uncle. The moment those two words came out, the entire crowd was in an uproar. That stubborn as a bull Helan Yu actually bowed his head. Looking at this big nephew, who was a head taller than you waved your little hand. In a milky childish voice you said, "Good boy. Don't worry, nephew. Your martial uncle will protect you from now on. No one will dare to bully you." Ha ha ha. The whole room instantly burst into laughter. A 3-year-old little bean was actually threatening to protect a 10-year-old little tyrant. This gap in contrast was absolutely killing them. While everyone was laughing their heads off, Kang Gouda quietly slipped into a corner. He held out his hand to the guys he had just bet with. A bet is a bet. Pay up. The guys pulled out their phones to transfer the money, looking pained. Who would have thought that the final winner would actually be you? A 3.5-year-old toddler. Kang Gouda waved his phone smugly in front of Feng Yexue. We made a killing this time. Just as he was getting carried away, a little hand suddenly reached over. Senior brother, what are you betting on? Count me in. You looked at him with an innocent face. Kang Gouda quickly hid his phone. Kids can't gamble. Give it here. With quick reflexes, you snatched the phone away. Looking at the massive sum of 100,000 yuan on the screen, you instantly understood. So this was a setup. Senior brother, share the wealth. Aren't you going to give me a cut? You're not short on money, are you? I'm very poor. You pouted your little mouth, threatening, if you don't pay up, I'll tell master. You're treating me like a fool. Gouda instantly chickened out. How was this a little junior brother? This was clearly a little ancestor. He had no choice but to obediently transfer a third of it to you. As the sweet sound of a WeChat notification chimed, you put your phone away in satisfaction. Just then, your gaze swept over the main table, and you noticed there was still an empty seat. Seeing that empty seat at the head table, you couldn't help but wonder, on such an important occasion, who would dare to be late, and who was worthy of sitting in a seat even more honorable than master? Feng Yexue seemed to notice your confusion. She leaned in and whispered mysteriously, that seat is reserved for masters. Ageless friend. He rarely shows his face. Whether he shows up today depends entirely on his mood. Feng Yexue spoke so mysteriously. An ageless friend? Someone who could make the proud master value them so highly? You instantly pictured an immortal-like, eccentric old man in your head. Right at that moment, the hall outside suddenly erupted. He's here. He's here. Who exactly is it? Such a grand entrance. Feng Yexue pinched your chubby little cheek. Looks like you're in luck. Master's ageless friend has arrived. You widened your eyes, staring intently at the door. Your heartbeat accelerated. A gentle breeze blew past, and the flower vines swayed. An expensive, custom-made high heel stepped over the threshold. Moving your gaze upward, the moment you saw the person clearly, your jaw nearly dropped to the floor. It was a face familiar to your very bones, walking toward you with long legs. Xu Nianshu. You were completely dumbfounded. Your mouth was open wide enough to fit an egg. You stared blankly at her. She saw you too. In the depths of her originally cold eyes, it seemed like something had struck a chord. The corners of her mouth actually curled into a faint, almost imperceptible smile. Holy crap, the sky is falling. The person seeing your sister mentioned, the one who was on brotherly terms with master as an ageless friend, was actually Xu Nianshu. Your mind went completely blank. How is this an ageless friendship? This is a damn 60-year age gap friendship. What shocked you even more was the way everyone present looked at Xu Nianshu. There wasn't a single trace of looking down on her as a junior. It was nothing but absolute reverence. The level of respect was exactly the same as what they showed Old Master Helen. Even your grandfather, Old Master Lin, was stunned. He pointed at Old Master Helen and complained, "You old geezer. That's so uncool. Why didn't you tell me earlier that this Xu Nianshu girl was your bro?" Old Master Helen looked smug. "Why should I tell you?" While the big shots were bickering, Xu Nianshu had already walked straight up to you. The next second, the entire hall went dead silent. That Xu Nianshu, who was not only a germaphobe, but also kept strangers at a distance, actually bent down and scooped you up before you could even react. Everyone was left dumbfounded, their eyes practically popping out of their heads. You stared at the beautiful face magnified right in front of you. To prove you weren't dreaming, you raised your little hand and gave her cheek a hard pinch. Xu Nianshu frowned slightly, giving you a reproachful look. It was real. The texture was real too. You instantly snapped back to reality. The little guy in your head started laughing maniacally with his hands on his hips. Ha ha ha. Master's ageless friend is actually my little fiancé. As expected of the woman I set my sights on. Her social skills are absolutely off the charts. The crowd watched this scene, their jaws practically dislocating. They had heard this little martial uncle had a young fiancé, but they never expected it to be you. Ling ran. Feng Yexue stood to the side, smiling meaningfully. Her eyes were full of a doting auntie's smile. This couple is too cute to ship. What do I do? Kang Gaota leaned in and muttered softly. Crap. What should we call little junior brother from now on? Little junior brother's seniority just skyrocketed. He's been supersized straight to martial aunt. Your grandfather, old Master Lin, stood to the side. Regretting it so much, his guts turned green. If he had known Shu Nianshu and this old geezer Helen had this kind of relationship, why would he have waited bitterly for months? Wouldn't it have been better to just use his granddaughter-in-law's connections? Shu Nianshu calmly carried you to her seat. You nestled in her arms, not daring to move an inch. This was your child bride taking the initiative to hold you. You had to be on your best behavior. Looking at that side profile, even prettier than 2 years ago. Your heart was pounding like crazy. What should you do? I want to grow up faster. I want to get married right now. This family banquet lasted until the early hours of the morning. When it was time to part ways, you clung to Shu Nianshu like a koala, refusing to let go no matter what. Ling ran, stop messing around. If Nianshu goes back late, she'll get scolded. Grandpa's stern voice rang out. The moment you thought of Uncle Shu's strict face, your heart instantly ached for your fiancé. Only then did you reluctantly let go, pouting as you slid down. Sister Nianshu, you have to come play with me often. Facing your big, watery eyes, Shu Nianshu ultimately couldn't bear to refuse. She nodded before turning to leave. Watching her back, you instinctively tried to chase after her, but after just 2 steps, you were suddenly lifted into the air. Just as you were about to chase your fiancé, you were suddenly hoisted up. You turned your head to look. It was that annoying Kang Gaota again. Little junior brother, have some restraint. You have to play hard to get with women. Put me down. You were so mad your cheeks puffed up like a pufferfish. You were chasing your wife. What business was it of his? But Kang Gaota held you tight, activating his relationship guru mode. Little junior brother, your senior brother has been there. Think about it. If you chase after her now, you'll look cheap. If you want to capture a woman's heart, you have to act aloof. Play hard to get. Feng Yexu rolled her eyes so hard they almost reached the sky. Give it a rest. You've been dumped no less than 10 times over the years. You've got 3 feet in the grave, and you're still a single dog. That was a brutal stab to the heart. You couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. Puffed. Ha ha ha. Senior brother, you're so pathetic. What does it even feel like to get dumped? My sister Nianshu treats me so well. Senior brother, you should really get a clue. Kang Gaota was flustered and exasperated. He freed one hand to grab Feng Yexua's wrist, activating his overconfident male mode. Junior sister, you're always targeting me. Could it be that you have a crush on me? I heard your family is setting you up on blind dates lately. Why don't we just make do with each other? Feng Yexue instantly blew her top. She shook off his hand and moved to punch him. Terrified, Kang Gaota dropped you on the ground and bolted. Watching this chaotic scene, you shook your head repeatedly like a little adult. You sighed. What exactly is this thing called love? The little lion next to you, Helen Yu, leaned in with a bewildered look. Martial uncle, what did you just say about money? You stared speechlessly at this silly lion. Little lion, read more books in the future. Don't be so obsessed with money all day. Otherwise, you'll never catch up to me in this lifetime. The afternoon of the 4th. Grandpa had just brought you home. Your sisters at home instantly swarmed you like a zombie siege. They pounced on you. Ling ran. Ling ran. How did it go? Did you successfully become his disciple? Mingjio was as anxious as a monkey. You deliberately stayed silent, only letting out a deep sigh. At this sigh, third sister Lin Shuing immediately activated her mocking mode. I knew it. How could Grandpa Helen possibly take a liking to him? What else can he do besides cause trouble? Lin Shiyuan felt bad for you. She quickly comforted you. It's okay. Ling ran. At worst, we'll just find another master. Or you can come learn swimming with me. Watching your sisters chatter away, Grandpa stood to the side, smiling without a word. The corners of your mouth curled up, revealing a row of little white teeth. You dropped a massive bombshell. Who said I didn't become his disciple? However, in order to learn, I'll be in seclusion until I graduate from elementary school. Only then can I come home. As soon as the words fell, the room went dead silent. Even Lin Shuing, who was just mocking you, instantly had her face drop, so he didn't fail. He was leaving home to study. That night, the atmosphere at home was incredibly gloomy. Your mom, Su Qianchen, packed your bags, while secretly wiping away tears. Your dad, Lin Mo, slapped his thigh in regret. I want to keep Ling Ran here too. But that's old Master Helen. This will only benefit Ling Ran's future. Downstairs in the living room, your arms were stuffed with all kinds of snacks and toys. They were all bought with your sister's secret stash of money. Eldest sister Lin Shiyuan looked serious. Ling Ran, if your master dares to bully you, call me immediately. Big sister will come bring you home. Even your usually sharp-tongued third sister. Lin Shuing awkwardly shuffled over. Don't force yourself just to save face. Can you even handle the crappy conditions up on that mountain? If you really can't take it, just don't go. Even though these brats were usually annoying, right now, your heart felt warm. Don't worry, it's not like I'm never coming back. After saying goodbye to your tearful parents, you firmly refused to let them escort you up the mountain. Otherwise, This farewell drama would drag on until next year. According to Master's arrangements, you moved directly into his residence. From then on, you began your hell mode training life, waking up earlier than the roosters, sleeping later than the dogs. Aside from eating and sleeping, you spent all your remaining time grinding away in the study. One day, Helen Yu peeked through the door, his eyes full of a sense of crisis. Have you seen enough? Without even lifting your head, you grabbed a crumpled ball of scrap paper from the desk and threw it backward with pinpoint accuracy. Smack! A perfect bullseye. Helen Yu walked in, clutching his face pitifully. Little Marshal Uncle, you're pushing yourself too hard. Grandpa said you should get used to the environment first. You sneered. I'm here to learn, not to take a vacation. This ruthlessness completely stunned Helen Yu, his gaze instantly filled with admiration. No wonder little Marshal Uncle is so outstanding. He's way too disciplined. Watching the silly lions retreating back, you shook your head helplessly. How could he know the bitterness in your heart? Your fiancée was Master's ageless friend. Such an incredible woman. If you didn't work hard, how could you ever stand by her side? More importantly, there was Jun, the one who ruined you in your past life. You were still just a little squirt right now. If you wanted to crush that corporate CEO in the future, you had to desperately get stronger now. You just jot that grudge down in your little notebook for now. Building up your strength was the true path. You let that bastard jump around for a couple more years. Once you grew up a bit and your wings were fully fledged, you'd definitely make him pay dearly. Seeing the burning fighting spirit in your eyes, Helen Yu's sense of crisis instantly skyrocketed. He ran back to his room and started frantically grinding ink to practice. Even this little brat had started secretly competing with you. One cloudless day, you had just laid out the rice paper and taken the initiative to grind ink for Master. Helen Yu leaned on the corner of the desk like a curious baby. Grandpa, what are we learning today? Old Master Helen picked up his brush, his aura instantly expanding. To achieve brilliance with a brush, one must first achieve brilliance in the heart. Today, I'm not teaching you how to write. I'm teaching you how to be a person. You perked up. This was exactly what you needed most. Your past life had been a complete mess. Since you had taken a master in this life, you had to truly understand how to write the character for person. As the old man moved his brush, he delivered golden quotes. Calligraphy is like life. The turns are adversity, and the ink holds both sorrow and joy. Once the brush falls, there are no regrets. Otherwise, it's too late for remorse. As his voice faded, two bold characters appeared on the rice paper, their strokes piercing through the back. Calligraphy. Helen Yu listened with a bewildered face. It sounded like absolute gibberish to him. He turned his head, only to find your eyes shining brightly, listening with keen interest. Do you understand? The old man asked. You nodded without hesitation, like a sensible little chick pecking at rice. In contrast, Helen Yu stammered for a long time, before dejectedly shaking his head. Seeing his grandfather's disappointed look, Helen Yu lost it. He pointed at you and started lashing out. Yeah, so little Marshal Uncle, did you really understand? Grandpa hates liars the most. Stop pretending. Cheh, ignorant little brat. You spoke calmly, directly teaching him a lesson. Of course I understand. Master is teaching us that life must have a beginning and an end. You can't just have 3 minutes of passion. Think thrice before you act, and never let your emotions dictate your actions. These words were perfectly logical. Full marks for depth. Old Master Helen was so happy his beard curled up. Ha ha ha, not bad. Lin Ran is truly brilliant. Helen Yu, you better learn a thing or two from your little Marshal Uncle. Helen Yu was completely convinced. He looked at you like you were an alien. A younger brother who was even smaller than him actually understood such profound principles. Meanwhile, down the mountain, the Lin family was shrouded in gloom. The 6 sisters sat in a circle, the atmosphere heavier than a morning hall. 5th sister Lin Jiahe hugged her doll, sobbing. I miss our little brother. 3rd sister, Lin Shuing, furrowed her brows, her imagination running wild. Lin Ran, that little troublemaker, is definitely getting punished up on the mountain. Do you think he's locked in a dark room? There are so many bugs on the mountain, and Lin Ran is terrified of bugs. He's probably covered in bites by now. Eldest sister Lin Qingyu added fuel to the fire. She stood up, heartbroken, and shouted, what are we waiting for? Are we just going to sit here and watch Lin Ran suffer? Let's go up the mountain. The 6 sisters hit it off instantly. They marched aggressively toward the halfway point of the mountain. However, reality gave them a harsh slap in the face. They were stopped by security right at the gate. Elder, he's orders. No visitors from the Lin family allowed. On what grounds? Lin Shuing instantly blew up. You won't let us see him. Are you feeling guilty? Are you abusing Lin Ran? Seeing that the 3rd sister was about to charge in and fight, eldest sister Lin Shiwan quickly held her back and dragged her back into the car. The atmosphere in the car dropped to freezing. Something definitely happened to Lin Ran. I can't wait any longer. Lin Qingyu was so anxious, she wanted to bang her head against the wall. Stop crying. Lin Ran isn't dead yet. Lin Shuing roared in frustration. Then her eyes turned fierce. If we can't go through the front door, we'll climb the wall. Night fell. The mountain wind howled. It was pitch black all around, with only the eerie croaking of frogs. Lin Jiehe was trembling in fear, tugging at her eldest sister's clothes. Sis, I'm scared. I want to go home. Shut up. Lin Shiwan scooped up the little crybaby and handed her straight to Lin Shuing, who was already straddling the wall. Lin Shuing took the dead weight with a look of disgust. What a pain in the neck. I shouldn't have brought you along. Just to see him once? Are these pampered young ladies going to let all our efforts go to waste tonight? Hearing this threat, Lin Jiahai tried to act tough, but she was on the verge of tears. Shut up. If we get caught, I'll throw you out to feed the mosquitoes. Under her third sister's intimidation, Lin Jiahe covered her mouth tightly, tears frantically welling up in her eyes. She couldn't look any more wronged. However, speak of the devil. Who's there? A loud shout pierced the night sky. Immediately after, several powerful flashlight beams shot over, instantly lighting up the wall like broad daylight. This was the He family estate. After all, the security level was on par with a royal palace. How could they let a few rookies slip in? The white light was blinding. Lin Shuing instinctively squinted, and Lin Jiahe, in her arms, couldn't hold it in anymore. She burst into earth-shattering wails. It was over. A total wipeout. In the dining room, you were enjoying dinner with your master. Suddenly, a subordinate reported that they had caught a few audacious petty thieves at the bottom of the mountain. You were still wondering to yourself, who would dare steal from your master in this day and age? They must have a death wish. But when you ran to the scene and took a look, you were completely dumbfounded. What petty thieves? These dejected figures surrounded in the middle were clearly your 6 troublesome sisters. You didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and quickly ran over on your little legs. Why is it you guys? Old Master Helen saw that this misunderstanding had blown up, to think it was the Lin family's granddaughters. He quickly waved his hand to release them. The moment Lin Jia saw you, it was like seeing a savior. She let out a wail and lunged at you, hugging your thigh tightly. Lin ran. I missed you so much. Seeing that crystal clear snot about to rub onto your clothes, you leaned back in disgust. TSK. TSK. Hold those tears back. So gross. At your angry shout, Lin Jiahe's crying came to an abrupt halt. Her ability to turn on and off the waterworks was unmatched. Lin Shuing, looking disheveled, was still shifting the blame. It's 5th sister's fault for only knowing how to cry. Otherwise, we would have been inside ages ago. Eldest sister Lin Shiyuan blushed and bit the bullet to step forward and apologize. Elder He, we just missed Lin Ran too much, which is why we resorted to such a bad plan. The other sisters also nodded in agreement, wearing expressions that said they'd go through fire and water for their little brother. Looking at this group of dirt-covered sisters, you felt helpless, but you couldn't suppress the warmth welling up in your heart. These silly sisters. Just to get a glimpse of you, they actually went as far as scaling a wall. I'm just in seclusion learning some skills. Do you have to act like we're parted by death? Although you complained verbally, you didn't want to see them punished. You quickly turned around and launched a cute offensive on your master. Master, for the sake of how much they love their little brother, please forgive them this once. I promise there won't be a next time. Old master. Helen couldn't resist your soft, sweet pleading. His stern face instantly broke into a smile. All right, but just this once. However, the old man's tone suddenly shifted, smiling meaningfully. I've already notified your father. He's probably already on his way. Oh no, we're totally screwed now. While you and your sisters were having this touching moment, Helen Yu stood to the side, completely stunned. He stared blankly at you, surrounded by your sisters, like the moon among stars. A wave of unprecedented envy suddenly surged in his heart. So this is what it feels like to be doted on. To make the most of their remaining time, the sisters surrounded you, asking all sorts of questions, staring at you so hard they could burn a hole through you. It was the middle of the night. Lin Mo, the head of the neighboring family, finally arrived, looking exhausted from his journey. Elder He, I am truly sorry for these rebellious daughters of mine. I'll give them a proper thrashing once we get home. Lin Mo's face was livid with rage. With one roar, the 6 sisters instantly stood at attention. They didn't even dare to breathe. Elder He Lan, however, was all smiles. Instead, he praised their sisterly bond and good upbringing. What are you all still standing there for? Apologize and get your butts home. Just when everyone thought the farce was finally over, something unexpected happened. I'm not leaving. Lin Jia suddenly burst out. She refused to budge an inch, no matter what. Lin Mo grabbed her like a little chick, picking her up by the collar. Lin Ran is here to study. Why are you joining the chaos? Lin Jiahe struggled desperately and fell right onto her butt. The next second, she did something that left everyone's jaws on the floor. She scrambled up in a flash, rushed over and hugged Elder He Lan's leg tightly, putting on the performance of a lifetime. Grandpa He, I want to learn calligraphy from you too. If Lin Ran can learn, so can I. Lin Ran and I are twins. Our IQs are exactly the same. If he can do it, I can too. I want to stay. Since childhood, the spotlight has always been on you. She wasn't convinced. It's just writing, right? If he could do it, she could too. Beside them, Helan Yu's face darkened. It's fine for the little scholar to stay. But why this crybaby? But Elder Helan, looking at the girl before him, who looked exactly like the boy, suddenly found it quite interesting. What is your name? Lin Jiahe, Lin Ran's twin sister. Looking at those big eyes that were identical to yours, the old man was delighted. A perfect pair of talented children. Keeping the sisters together isn't a bad idea. Fine, you can stay and keep your brother company. It actually worked. The other sisters were instantly green with envy. Lin Shuing immediately raised her hand. Grandpa He. Actually, I also forget it. The old man rejected her in a heartbeat. Lin Mo smacked her forehead. With your monkey-like behavior, you want to learn calligraphy? Stop dreaming. Everyone, come home with me. Leaving behind a little tag-along. Sister, although you got rid of Dad, your nightmare has only just begun. That evening, He Lan Yu led Lin Jiahe to the room, muttering about the devilish schedule. This is your nest from now on. Wake up at 6 a.m. for a run. Eat at 7 a.m. Assessment at 8 a.m. You only get a breather at noon. However, that foodie sister of yours only remembered the word eat. After seeing the room, Lin Jiahe wasn't happy. Small room aside, the main point was that you weren't there. Where's Lin Ran? I want to sleep with Lin Ran. I'm afraid of the dark. He Lan Yu looked at her with disdain. You're the older sister. Even your brother isn't afraid. What are you afraid of? Unfortunately, Lin Jiahe's pestering skills were unmatched. He Lan Yu's head throbbed from her nagging. He could only lead her to your door. Lin Ran, I'm here. The door opened, and you were immediately tackled by a little meatball. You were completely dazed. Why are you coming here in the middle of the night instead of sleeping? He Lan Yu stood at the door with his arms spread, laughing mischievously. Little martial uncle, your sister insists on sleeping with you. I'm out of here. I wish you two happiness. With a bang, he closed the door and left, leaving you standing there in a daze. You were about to throw her out, but Lin Jiahe pouted and used her ultimate move. Lin Ran, from now on, we only have each other. Don't abandon me. Hearing those words, your heart softened, thinking it might be nice to have her around to cure the boredom. Who knew that this moment of soft-heartedness would make you regret it all night long? This night was a total disaster. Not only did she hog all the blankets, but her sleeping posture was incredibly wild. Her leg was draped right over you, using you as a body pillow. The next morning, Lin Jiahe was refreshed, as if she had been charging all night, while you had two massive dark circles under your eyes, looking like you'd been drained of your very soul. At the dining table, Master was startled, thinking you were sick. You complained indignantly. Master, I'm fine. It's just that someone doesn't know how to sleep properly. You thought Master would give you justice, but instead, the old man laughed until he was doubled over. Ha ha ha, I can't get involved in sibling squabbles. Solve it yourselves. You got anxious. Master, we need rules. If this continues, I won't have the energy to study. I might as well go back to my room and sleep. Hearing that it affected your studies, the old man's face changed instantly. He gave Lin Jiahe an ultimatum. Sleep by yourself from now on. Otherwise, I'll pack you up and send you down the mountain. Under this fatal threat, Lin Jiahe finally chickened out. She nodded obediently, solving the sleeping problem. But an even more soul-crushing part came. The first lesson. Lin Jiahe was like an unrefined monkey, scribbling nonsense with the brush. He Lan Yu's stomach hurt from laughing. What on earth is this drawing? Is it for warding off ghosts? Lin Jiahe's face turned beet red. Pointing at the ink blot, she argued, This is the character, Lin. You leaned in to look, your face instantly flushed with embarrassment. It was way too ugly, simply catastrophic. But seeing her pitiful look, you had to offer some insincere comfort. It's okay. You'll get better with practice. Moon. I'll work hard to keep up with Lin Ran. You thought she was just saying that. You didn't expect this girl to be serious. Mocked during the day. She secretly practiced extra at night. She didn't even sleep. After just 1 week, a miracle happened. Lin Jiahe's calligraphy improved by leaps and bounds. She was actually on par with He Lan Yu, who had been practicing since childhood. Not bad. Rapid progress. Elder He Lan couldn't stop smiling, feeling like he had found a treasure, remarking that the Lin family genes were simply god tier. Looking at your sister's confidence, you felt a chill of fear. If you hadn't cheated with memories from your past life, you probably would have been crushed by this kid long ago. Just then, Master dropped a bombshell. Next month is the annual calligraphy competition. The three of you, prepare well. Submit your works next Friday. Lin Jiahe's eyes lit up. Grandpa He. Can I participate too? Beside them, He Lan Yu pricked up his ears, calculating in his head. This girl hasn't even officially joined. Why should she participate? Unexpectedly, Master waved his hand, dropping an atomic bomb on the household. So, you're also my disciple now. Call me Master from now on. Don't call me Grandpa anymore. Lin Jiahe jumped for joy, while He Lan Yu's face turned as black as a pot. Grandpa, it's one thing to have the little scholar, but why are two? Elder He Lan frowned. What? Is Lin Jia not worthy of being your martial aunt? He Lan Yu was on the verge of tears. Pointing at Lin Jiahe, he complained. Her calligraphy isn't as good as mine. Why would you take her as a disciple but not me? Instead, you made me my father's disciple. He Lan Yu's gaze toward you was full of respect. But when he looked at Lin Jia, it was pure disdain. I accept you as my little martial uncle. But her? I refuse. This shout spilled out all the old jealousy he had been bottling up. Why, Grandpa? You give your all to these outsiders, but you ignore your own grandson. Your cowardly sister trembled in fear, scurrying behind you, only poking half her head out to surrender. I don't have to be a disciple, okay? You were completely speechless. This girl is way too spineless. Seeing He Lan Yu's strong reaction, Master sighed. The disciple thing had to be put on hold. But you weren't worried at all. With Lin Jia's rocket-like talent, slapping He Lan Yu's face was only a matter of time. However, a few days later, you were the one panicking. The competition was near. You still hadn't decided what to write. Your head was throbbing with worry. Just then, Lin Jiahe rushed into your room with a pile of works. Praise me. Help me pick one. I've finished everything for the competition. Your pupils dilated in shock. What the heck? This academic failure actually overtook you. You hadn't even touched your brush, and she was already in the selection phase. Lin Jiahe even had a humble bragging look. If I don't win a prize, will Grandpa be disappointed? You suppressed the urge to hit her, helped her pick the best work, then kicked her out. Immediately, you entered insane homework mode. After a 2-hour sprint, you finally finished. Rolling up the rice paper, you went to find Master, who knew the He family mansion was such a maze. You wandered around until you were dizzy. Finally, you spotted Master in the courtyard, but the next second you froze, because sitting across from Master was the child bride you had been dreaming of, Chu Nianchu. Master. You excitedly ran over with the paper, like a little cannonball that couldn't stop. Master looked up, his beard twitching with laughter. Ha ha ha, your fiancé is here. Su Nianshu heard the voice. Turning around, you felt that cold gaze. Your heart tightened. You slammed on the brakes. Oh no, my image is going to crumble. You immediately switched from wild child to gentleman mode. You had to look cool in front of your child bride. Continue. Don't let your husband affect your performance. Master had a teasing look. Su Nianshu withdrew his gaze and calmly placed a piece, as if nothing had happened. You felt neglected. Just as you were about to speak, Helan Yu, who was nearby, made a should gesture. You had no choice but to crawl to Master's side, entering husband-watching mode. Honestly, this child bride was a masterpiece of the gods. Even the way he played chess was insanely handsome. You were drooling while watching. Helan Yu couldn't take it anymore. He gave you a disgusted push. You snapped out of it, quickly wiping the corner of your mouth. Turning around, you saw that Lin Jiahe, the little tag-along, had also arrived. Just then, the game reached a stalemate. Master's brow was furrowed, holding a piece, hesitating. Clearly, he was in big trouble. Helan Yu, the blind worshipper, was shouting encouragement. Grandpa, just as Master was about to move, your eyes sharpened, and you suddenly spoke. Wait, Master. Silence fell. Everyone's eyes were on you. Master was puzzled. What's wrong? You pointed at the board. Your tone was certain. You can't make this move. Otherwise, you'll lose within 3 steps. Why? Master didn't understand. Helan Yu got anxious, jumping out to criticize. Don't talk while watching a game. Little martial uncle, don't cause trouble. Master waved him off, looking at you with great interest. Actually, you had calculated it long ago. This was the perfect chance to show off in front of your child bride. The game was at the 99th move, seemingly calm, but full of hidden killing intent. Su Nianshu had set a terrifying trap with the white pieces, using a ko to confuse the opponent. If Master made one wrong move, it would be game over. To turn the tide, there was only one slim chance. Right here. You reached out your chubby little hand, pointing precisely at a corner, that inconspicuous empty spot, a move to summon the white dragon. This move was earth-shattering. The indifferent Su Nianshu suddenly looked up, staring intently at the 3-5-year-old you, a storm brewing in his eyes. Master woke up as if from a dream. Cold sweat broke out on his back. With this move, the dead board suddenly came to life. Amidst the swirling snow, the losing game was truly revived. Elder Helan calculated carefully. A burst of wild laughter shattered the silence. A narrow victory by half a point. Good game. Su Nianshu's cold eyes narrowed. His gaze locked onto you across the board. The lethal trap he had meticulously set was seen through by you in one glance. Helan Yu was full of admiration. Lin Jiahe was even more stunned. You met your child bride's gaze without flinching, feeling incredibly smug. Shocked, aren't you? You think you're the only brilliant genius. Well, I'm a plain and simple little genius too. Master had discovered a new world. He kept dragging you to play chess. The results made him question his life. You actually tied with him every single time. The old man was going crazy with joy. An old monster teaching a little monster. A perfect match. Not long after, news of the preliminary results arrived. Senior sister Feng Yexue personally brought the news. Everyone passed. Lin Jiahai was so excited she wanted to kiss you. You slapped her away in disgust. Don't touch me. Gross. Seeing this, Lan Yu felt a massive sense of crisis. Oh no. If I don't work hard, I'm really going to be crushed into the ground by these two monsters who appeared out of nowhere. Then, the final schedule was set. Everyone set off for the imperial capital. However, along the way, the difference in treatment was way too obvious. After getting off the plane, it was drizzling in the capital. Senior sister held your hand on the left and Lin Jiahez on the right, showering you with care, even draping her coat over both of you, while Lan Yu had to miserably push the suitcases, following behind and eating dust. Seeing senior sister hugging and kissing you too, her gaze was terrifyingly hungry. You could only shrink back. Help. This woman's maternal instinct is a bit over the top. At the hotel, the room assignments were brutal. Senior sister threw Lan Yu to the other two grown men. Follow your martial uncle from now on. He'll make sure you're fed. Lan Yu looked at the closed door, so depressed he wanted to hit the wall. Did Master completely abandon him? Inside the room, the atmosphere was a bit off. That coward Lin Jiahe was completely panicking, clinging to you like an accessory, never leaving your side. Don't just stand there, blocking my practice. You waved her off irritably. Brother, I'm scared. What if I lose? Well, you think I'm useless. You rolled your eyes, your sharp tongue in full effect. You're useless right now. Go to sleep already. Senior sister, who just finished her shower, immediately went into protective mode, forcing you to apologize to Lin Jiahe. You lay there helplessly, seemingly calm, but your heart was racing. After all, this was the first serious competition of your life, but you couldn't back down, because this wasn't just a competition. It was the betrothal gift for your child bride. You were determined to win this championship. On the day of the competition, the youth activity center was packed. You wanted to keep a low profile, but your face and Lin Jia's were way too eye-catching. Look! Those twins are gorgeous, someone shouted. A crowd of cameras instantly turned toward you, blocking the path completely. Kids, you're so young and competing already. Look at the camera. Reporters and photographers shoved microphones right in your face. Before you could react, Lin Jiahe, behind you, had already shrunk like a quail, hiding behind you and trembling. Looking at the dense crowd, you gave a sweet smile. Uncles and aunties, please let us through. That smile melted the reporters' hearts. Little did they know, it was just the calm before the storm. Sister came for the calligraphy competition, but you got annoyed after just 2 sentences with the reporters, immediately pulling Lin Jiahe toward the arena. The shadow of being interviewed in your past life returned. When the competition started, Lin Jiahe's hands were shaking with nerves. However, she subconsciously looked at you. Seeing you calm and composed, writing away, her heart settled. I can't lose to Lin Ran, but you had finished long ago. Bored, you looked around. The proctor came over to ask if you were done. You nodded. But I want to wait for my sister to turn it in together. Lin Jiahe was incredibly moved. She immediately started writing furiously, but she had no idea. You were only waiting because master told you to. As soon as you left the exam room, Feng Yexu asked in confusion, "Where's he Lan Yu? Why hasn't he come out yet?" 10 minutes later, he Lan Yu finally strolled out. Looking worried, he asked how you did. You just said casually, "It was okay. I just wrote whatever." An hour later, the results were announced. Everyone was taken to the hall. The atmosphere was tense. Third place is Lin Jiahe. Lin Jiahe jumped up. She actually won an award. Holding the trophy, her palms were covered in sweat. He Lan Yu breathed a sigh of relief. If Lin Jiahe is third, then second place must be him. He knew he couldn't beat you. The little martial uncle, who knew the host's next words, would hit him like a bolt from the blue. Second place is Fang Zheng. He Lan Yu, who was about to stand up, froze. How could second place not be him? First place was you, without a doubt. But during the group photo on stage, something happened. The girl who got second place, Fang Zheng, was actually crying on stage. You went up to comfort her. Don't cry. If you cry, the photo won't look good. You noticed she kept staring at your championship trophy. You realized she was sad because she didn't win first. So, you generously handed the trophy over. Do you like this? I'll give it to you. But Fang Zheng gritted her teeth. She wanted to win on her own, not receive charity. The next second, she grabbed her trophy and ran off the stage without warning, before the photo was even taken. You were left standing there, stunned. But just then, the trophy was suddenly snatched from behind. You were startled. Turning around, it was your fourth sister. Not just her. All your sisters were here. They smiled and congratulated you. As expected of our brother, we knew you'd win the championship. You stepped forward happily, but your annoying third sister started teasing you again. So this is the championship trophy. If even you can win. I guess it doesn't require much skill. You ignored her completely, turning to hug the cold second sister's arm. Second sister. Second sister. Ran got first place. When I get the prize money, I'll buy you a birthday present. Hearing this, third sister Lin Shuing's face turned black. Why buy for Lin Ruoxu and not me? Seeing her frustrated look, you were delighted. That's what you get for being so mean, while you were surrounded by your sisters. Enjoying the joy of victory, Lin Jiahe stood in the corner, looking lonely, quietly hiding her trophy behind her back. However, the sisters only cared about you, completely ignoring Lin Jiahe, who was trying so hard to catch up but never could. You noticed the clingy Lin Jiahe was missing, so you pushed through your sisters and walked straight to her. Why are you here alone? Quick! Show the sisters your trophy. You snatched her trophy and led her to the sisters. You announced it loudly to everyone. Jiahe is actually incredible. Master keeps praising him for his rapid progress. Don't be fooled by how late he started. He took third place based on pure talent alone. You even let out a deliberate sigh. I'm afraid my first place spot won't be safe next year. The light in Lin Jiahe's eyes instantly ignited. He stared at you blankly. This was the first time you had ever praised him. He was hundreds of times happier than he was when he actually won the award. A moment later, his nose began to sting. He could no longer control his emotions. He let out a loud wail and started crying. Only then did the sisters snap out of it. They all stepped forward to comfort him. The eldest sister, Lin Shiyuan, was filled with guilt. She realized she had completely ignored Jie. Even the sharp-tongued third sister, Lin Shuing, fell silent. They finally realized they had been so focused on your excellence that they forgot Lin Jiao was also wonderful. Meanwhile, He Lan Yu was dejectedly following behind his master, Feng Yexue. Do you know why you lost? Feng Yexue asked suddenly. He Lan Yu kept his head down. My talent isn't as good as theirs. But Feng Yexu shook her head. Talent is important, but hard work is even more vital. Do you work as hard as Lin Jiahe does? He Lan Yu was instantly rendered speechless. Feng Yexue left him with a final word. Keep working hard for next year, she said before turning to leave. Because of this, He Lan Yu's fighting spirit was reignited. He swore he wouldn't lose again next year. On the other side, the Shu family butler knocked on the door. Shu Nianshu took the package and asked who sent it. The butler smiled and replied, "It's an urgent local delivery from the young master of the Lin family, Ling Ran." Shu Nianshu was a bit surprised. You actually sent him something? He quickly opened it to take a look. Inside was the gleaming gold championship trophy and a letter. The letter contained only one sentence. I won the championship. This is a gift for you. This little guy really never misses a single moment to make his presence felt. Just as Shu Nianshu picked up the trophy to admire it, a woman suddenly burst into the room. With a loud crash, the trophy fell to the floor. What is this junk? Yun Ketching glanced at the fragments on the floor. She looked completely indifferent, but a dark glint flashed in the depths of Shu Nianshu's eyes. He picked up the severely damaged trophy and coldly spat out a single word. Yun Ketching was acting arrogant and overbearing, relying on the child in her womb. It's just a broken toy. How dare you speak to me like that? But Shu Nianshu's face was terrifyingly grim. It's not even certain whose child that is. If you don't start behaving, I won't mind sending you back to prison. Young Keqing was instantly silenced. She could only swallow her anger. Before leaving, she deliberately stepped on a fragment of the trophy. Outside the door, she continued to hurl indirect insults. Calling you a brat with no mother to raise him. Xu Nianchu acted as if he hadn't heard a thing. He carefully picked up every single fragment. You'll definitely be angry that your gift was broken, won't you? He immediately sent the trophy to be repaired. He also wondered what kind of gift he should give you in return to make amends. On the other side, after you and your sisters spent the day together, you returned to the mountain with Lin Jiahe and he, Lan Yu. As soon as you got home, you wanted to find Master to share the joy of your championship. But the butler said Master was in the study discussing business with the senior uncle. He told you to wait a while before going in. You agreed verbally, but the next second, you secretly snuck over to the study. Who would have thought that as soon as you reached the door, you would overhear a shocking secret? Master, I can't take your money. I'll find a way myself. The eldest disciple, Wen Lezhang, was kneeling on the floor. Old man He Lan sighed. How do you plan to resist the Ou family? They have a massive empire. But Wen Lezhang was incredibly stubborn. My Wen family would rather quit the business world than ever become the OU family's lapdogs. So, senior brother's family is going bankrupt, and it was caused by the EU family. You were instantly consumed by rage. How dare the OU family bully someone you care about? Just as you were about to rush in, Lin Jai suddenly popped up. What are you doing here? You grabbed him abruptly. Only then did you realize you had almost exposed yourself. How could a 4-year-old child understand the struggles of the business world? So, you had to find another way. At 10 o'clock that night, you dragged Lin Jie along to practice calligraphy until he fell asleep face down on the table. You immediately wrote down a strategy and stuffed it into your pocket. Then you quietly slipped into Master's study. You pressed the note under the inkstone and then left without a trace. The next day, old man He Lan indeed discovered the note. He opened it to take a look. A brilliant light instantly burst from his aged eyes. Why didn't I think of this? This strategy could actually give Wen Lezhang a fighting chance. He immediately sent someone to deliver the strategy, because you were worried the plan might fail. You didn't sleep well all night. The next day during practice, you were drowsy. The characters you wrote looked like messy scribbles. Right then, Master's stern voice came from above. Ling Ran, you snapped awake, meeting Master's sharp, dark gaze. You wanted to explain, but seeing those scribbles on the rice paper, you were instantly speechless. So, you lowered your head and prepared for punishment. Old Manny Lan became even angrier when he saw this. What he hated most was being absent-minded while learning. Fine. So you become arrogant just because you won a championship. In a few more years, will you even show any respect to me, your master? You didn't dare say a word. You were indeed in the wrong this time. However, at that moment, Lin Jiahe suddenly spoke up. Grandpa He. Ling Ran didn't mean to be disrespectful. He made me practice calligraphy with him until very late last night. He was still practicing even after I fell asleep. He's just too exhausted. Old man He Lan was stunned. He then looked at you. Is what he said true? He knew in his heart that Lin Jiahe wouldn't lie to him, and you had never been disrespectful in his class before. Could it be that he really misunderstood you? Thinking about Wen Lezhang's situation, he hadn't been eating or sleeping well himself. He had lost control of his emotions for a moment and acted impulsively. Sigh. As a teacher, I should. You quickly nodded and admitted your mistake. Master, I won't do it again. Old man He Lan's expression finally softened. Go back and catch up on some sleep first. I'll give you half the day off today. But you couldn't sleep at all. Your mind was constantly worried about news regarding senior brother. Meanwhile, after Wen Lezhang received the letter, he immediately got to work. His younger sister Wen Zining had founded a clothing brand called Wen. It was beloved by young people for its unique designs. But now, this brand was being targeted by the Yu family. That day, when Zining brought some chicken soup to the office, her heart ached when she saw her brother asleep at his desk. Wen Lezhang was startled awake, seeing the guilt in his sister's eyes. He gave a faint smile. We're family. Unexpectedly, Wen Zining suddenly said, Brother, I'm planning to give up. I don't want to keep dragging you all down. Wen Lezhang's expression instantly became serious. We absolutely cannot give the company to the Iwu family. This is your hard work, your dream. How can you just say you're giving up? Wen Zining's eyes turned red. But we can't win. The O family is just waiting to watch us fail. Wen has been established for less than 3 years. It's impossible to fight against the massive Wu family. But Wen Lezhang was exceptionally determined. I can see your passion for Wen, even if it's a fight to the death. I won't let the O family sell your work like it's nothing. Wen Zining was moved to tears. Immediately after, Wen Lezhang handed her a document. They want to acquire us? They just want to take over the market in S City, so we can't go head-to-head with them. I've already followed the strategy Master gave me. I sent people to B City to distract them. Wen Zining looked confused. How is that possible? The OU family has deep roots. How can we distract them? Wen Lezhang smiled. The Yu family isn't without weaknesses. Don't forget, S City is our territory. I've already reached out to the government for support. We'll take a specialized development route. If the OU family wants to create a monopoly, they'll have to see if the government allows it. He continued. The government just released a policy last month to support small and medium-sized enterprises. They even refined the anti-monopoly laws. This is the key to our comeback. Wen Zining was instantly enlightened. Even if we can't completely defeat the OU family, we can suppress their arrogance and protect Wen. So all we have to do now is wait. Exactly. Wen Lezhang's eyes were sharp. When the EU family sees our moves, they will inevitably increase their pressure on us. A dark glint flashed in Wen Xining's eyes. As long as the O family applies heavy pressure, it will bound to attract the government's attention. When Lezhang nodded in agreement, Wen Xining choked up. Brother, I understand now. Your master is incredible. Without him, I really wouldn't have been able to hold on. In the evening, you were watching the news with Master. Suddenly, a breaking news alert popped up. The O Group has been fined 30.5 billion for monopolistic practices and suppressing small businesses. You instantly breathed a sigh of relief. Great, your strategy worked. Senior brother's company is saved. At that moment, old man He Lan stared at the TV screen. He got up and went outside to make a phone call. When he learned the Wen family was out of danger, he walked back into the room in a great mood. Come on, let's get back to practicing calligraphy. You pouted aggrievely. Master, it's break time. You can't learn during break time. Calligraphy requires persistence. Seeing that Master was about to start lecturing again, you quickly got up, grabbed Lin Jiahe, and went to practice. Early the next morning, you woke up groggily, only to see He Lan Yu rushing around. Where are you going? He Lan Yu stopped in his tracks. Little junior uncle, senior uncle is back. Master told me to go prepare some food. Senior brother is back? Your eyes lit up. After asking where they were, you bolted toward the main hall. Sure enough, senior brother was there, but there was actually a beautiful older sister next to him. You immediately stepped forward. Master, senior brother. Then you gave Wen Xining a beaming smile. Who is this beautiful sister? Wen Xining was instantly charmed by you. You must be the little junior brother my brother mentioned. He's so cute. So she's senior brother's younger sister. Then what should I call her? However, old man He Lan gave you an annoyed glare. Who told you to come running here? Go do your morning self-study now. Yes, master. Seeing that senior brother was okay, you were completely relieved. But you didn't go far. Instead, you crouched outside the door to eavesdrop. You heard Wen Lezhang say, Master, this was all thanks to your strategy. My parents couldn't make it, so they specifically sent me and my sister to thank you. This is a token of our gratitude. Please, you must accept it. To your surprise, old man He Lan laughed and waved his hand. You've misunderstood. That strategy wasn't my idea. I found it under my inkstone. Wen Lezhang and Wen Xining looked at each other. They were completely shocked, but Wen Xining still took a step forward. Elder He, you're being too humble. I, Wen Xining, will forever remember your great kindness. Because there was still work at the company, the siblings didn't stay long. As they were heading down the mountain, they actually ran right into Xu Nianchu. Wen Xining was instantly drawn to his aura. She asked curiously, isn't he the young master of the Xu family? Why is he here to study under a master too? Wen Lezhang shook his head. Master called him here to play chess. Wen Xining was astonished. He's so young, yet he's held in such high regard by old man He Lan. Meanwhile, Xu Nianchu noticed that old man He Lan was distracted while playing chess. It's your turn, he reminded him softly. Old man He Lan let out a long sigh. He casually placed a piece. Nianchu, I've encountered something very strange. He explained the whole situation regarding the note in the study. Finally, he furrowed his brows. I checked the surveillance footage, but the cameras were broken. Who do you think this person is? And why would they help us in secret? Su Nianchu calmly placed a piece. It's clear that this person is not an enemy. Perhaps it's just inconvenient for them to show their face. When they want to be known, they will reveal themselves naturally. Old man He Lan suddenly had an epiphany. Ha ha ha, how did I get so stuck in a rut? I'm not even as clear-headed as you, kid. As soon as you heard Xu Nianchu was here, you immediately dropped your brush and rushed out of the room. Lin Jiahe shouted from behind you. Ling ran. If you don't practice, Grandpa, he is going to be angry. But you didn't care at all. Your mind was filled with him. Master! You let out a loud shout, nearly scaring the chess piece out of old man He Lan's hand. He deliberately put on a stern face. You're not practicing? What are you doing running over here, trying to slack off again? These words were clearly meant for Xu Nianchu to hear. It's like a daughter who can't wait to leave home. You replied confidently, Master, I came specifically to help you. Help me. Old man He Lan was amused. I won't lose this time. But you looked at the chessboard with your hands on your hips. You tilted your chin up proudly. That's not necessarily true. You stared straight at Xu Nianchu. It's been so long since I gave him the trophy. Yet there hasn't been a single word from him. You couldn't help but ask, is my trophy pretty? Xu Nianchu's hand holding the chess piece instantly froze. How could he possibly say the trophy was shattered? If you found out, you'd probably start crying again. He could only give a vague answer. It's nice. Your heart skipped a beat with joy. You immediately leaned in. Then where's my return gift? I gave you my trophy. Aren't you going to give me something back? No. Xu Nianchu's refusal was short and blunt. You were instantly unhappy. But then you thought about it. He's your future husband. There's no reason to demand a return gift from him. So, you decided that you would be the one to spoil him from now on. Building a relationship is what's most important. Meanwhile, Xu Nianchu was distracted by the talk of a return gift. As a result, old man He Lan put him in checkmate. Ha ha ha, I won. Old man He Lan was overjoyed. He finally had a chance to tease him. Your chess skills still need some work. Xu Nianchu just gave a slight smile. I'll take my leave now. You're leaving already? Not up for another round? Hearing that he was leaving, you got anxious. You grabbed his hand. When are you coming back? Meeting your serious and expectant gaze, he could only say, I'll come when I have time. When I have time? You weren't going to let him off that easily. Old man He Lan teased. Ling ran. You're making things too difficult for him. You could only let out a soft sigh. You just didn't want your future husband to leave. Then I'll walk you down the mountain. No need. Zhu Nianshu actually let go of your hand and walked away with large strides. You could only stand there and pout. Fine, don't let me walk you then. You little brat, you're already this obsessed with Nianshu at such a young age? Get back to practicing your calligraphy. After a lecture from Master, you hurried back to your room. But before you could even open the door, you saw Hilanyu sneaking out of your room. You immediately stopped him. What were you doing in my room? Hilanyu looked guilty the moment he saw you. He stammered. I came to find you. What for? It's nothing. I just remembered I need to see Master. I'm leaving now. Watching him rush away, you felt even more puzzled. Am I really that scary? He runs the moment he sees me. But as soon as you entered the room, you saw an exquisite box sitting on the table. You picked it up and gave it a shake. What is this? Thinking about Hilanyu's behavior just now. Could this be a gift from him? Oh my god. He doesn't have a crush on me, does he? No way. I have to find a chance to set things straight with him. Even though I'm very good looking, I only like Su Nianshu. I can't let him get the wrong idea. At the dinner table that evening, you kept glancing at Hilanyu. He felt guilty under your gaze and buried his head even lower. Sure enough, this kid definitely likes me. You cleared your throat. Ahem, Hilanyu. Do you think I'm good looking? Feng Yexue almost choked on her food. Ling ran. Why are you asking him that? You replied confidently. I just want to know what he thinks of me. Lenyu's face instantly turned bright red. He put down his bowl and ran off. I'm finished eating. Watching him flee in a panic, you couldn't help but laugh out loud. It seems I won't get an answer out of him. When I have time, I really need to talk to him about the downsides of puppy love. Who would have thought that on your way back, you would see Hilanyu in front of your door, pacing back and forth nervously? No way. Is he actually going to confess? Having lived 2 lives, even you started to feel nervous. You took a deep breath and walked over. Hey, you're not standing here specifically waiting for me, are you? Hilanyu was so startled he almost dropped what he was holding. Little junior uncle, you walk without making a sound. Now you're blaming me? Come on, what do you want? It's finally starting. You spoke up first. Our country's laws state that minors can't engage in early romance. Otherwise, you'll be locked in a dark room. Have you thought this through? Hilanyu was confused. What is little junior uncle talking about? Could it be that senior uncle doesn't like him? Is that why he's acting hurt? He immediately lowered his head and held out the item in his arms with both hands. Little junior uncle, I'm sorry. You look closer. It was actually an inkstone. A brand new inkstone. Hilanyu quickly explained. Little junior uncle, I accidentally broke your inkstone. This is a replacement I bought. Please don't be mad. You blinked and took the inkstone. So after all that guessing, I was just overthinking it. The reason you were sneaking out of my room was because you broke my inkstone. Hilanyu nodded frantically. I used all of my allowance to buy it. Little junior uncle, please don't be mad, okay? It was all just a big misunderstanding. You had to put on a mature act. A good child admits when they're wrong. I'm not mad. You look calm on the surface, but inside, you were cringing so hard your toes were curling. Thank goodness you didn't say it out loud. Otherwise, it would have been incredibly awkward for both of you. But then you suddenly thought, if that's the case, then who sent the box in the room? You immediately followed up. Before you came to my room, did anyone else come by? Lenyu shook his head. No. Why do you ask? Nothing. I'm tired. You bolted back to your room, closing the door and holding that mysterious gift. You decided to open it. You tore open the box. Inside was a calligraphy brush. The body of the brush was carved with a tiger. You were instantly shocked. This is a work by the master craftsman Yang Hu. It's worth a fortune and nearly impossible to find. Your heart sank. Could it be that your secret plan for seeing your brother was exposed? Because of this, you didn't sleep well all night. Early the next morning, you took the gift box to Master. Master, I don't know who sent this. I'll leave it to you to decide what to do with it. Down the mountain, you had already become an internet sensation. Netizens were captivated by your adorable appearance. Everyone was speculating about which family this little prodigy belonged to. But up on the mountain, you knew nothing about this. After a day of studying, you grabbed Lin Jiahe and wanted to go play in the back mountain. Lin Jiahe looked terrified. Grandpa, he doesn't allow anyone to go to the back mountain. If we're caught, we'll be locked in the dark room. With just a few words, you had him wrapped around your finger. Combining work and play is the only way. As long as I don't say anything, it'll be fine. So, the two of you avoided everyone and snuck off to the back mountain. But just then, voices came from behind. Quick, hide. You pushed Lin Jiahe down and hid behind a large tree. You saw 2 strange boys walking toward you. One of the boys looked somewhat familiar to you. Walk faster. If I don't succeed in becoming a disciple, I'm going to make trouble for you. The one speaking was the eldest young master of the Fang family, Fang Yuan. The one beside him was the runner-up from the last calligraphy competition, Fang Zheng. You remembered instantly. It's that boy who ran off the stage crying. Your curiosity got the better of you, so you quietly followed him. Coming to seek a master when it's almost dark? Since when did the Helan family's security become so lax? Just then, Hilanyu came down the stairs carrying some scrolls. Junior brother, what are you doing here? Before Fang Zheng could explain, he noticed little junior uncle. Weren't you practicing your calligraphy? Why did you come out? You lied without batting an eye, claiming you just came out for a run. Fang Yuan and Fang Zheng turned around at the sound of his voice. Fang Yuan recognized you. His eyes were filled with pure disdain. Meanwhile, Fang Zheng bit his lip. He didn't even dare to look your way. After losing the match, he realized he had lost to his own senior. He was too ashamed to even set foot on the mountain again. He never expected to run into you today of all days, but you took the initiative and walked right up to him. Remember me, you ran off crying during the last competition. I didn't even get a chance to take a photo with you. Fang Zheng was so nervous he started to stutter. Hello, little junior uncle. Little junior uncle? Now it was your turn to be stunned. He Lan Yu quickly explained, little junior uncle. This is Fang Zheng. He's my junior brother. Only then did it click. So the boy who left in tears was actually Fang Yexua's disciple. You couldn't help but lean in and whisper to He Lan Yu. Just how many disciples does your master actually have? You had to get this straight. Otherwise, the next time you met, it would be so awkward if you didn't recognize them. He Lan Yu answered honestly. For now, it's just me and my junior brother. As for whether master has any other disciples out there, I'm not really sure. But right then, Fang Yuan, seeing himself being ignored, immediately felt a surge of irritation. He had always been the star of the show since he was a kid. Who did Fang Zheng think he was? He stepped forward immediately. I'm here to become a disciple, he said arrogantly. Where is Grandpa Helen? I want to see him. He Lan Yu looked him up and down. He spoke coldly. My grandfather doesn't see just anyone. Fang Yuan didn't care. He suddenly lunged toward you. He stared you down intensely. Lin ran. He hissed under his breath. Don't think that just because you're Grandpa Helan's disciple, that you can steal Sister Nianchu away from me. You're not worthy of her. You found his words absolutely ridiculous. Hey, big brother, Nianchu is my fiancé. If I'm not worthy, then you think you are? Fang Yuan gritted his teeth in rage. Beside him, Fang Zheng quickly tried to pull him back. Brother, he's our little martial uncle. We can't offend him. Fang Yuan's face turned incredibly sour. Little martial uncle? Once I'm accepted as a disciple, I'll show him who's boss. He was brimming with confidence in the calligraphy he'd practiced since childhood. He believed that becoming a disciple was just a stepping stone to get to Sister Nianchu. So, he demanded again, where is Grandpa He Lan? He Lan Yu was provoked by his attitude. He didn't hold back and issued a direct rejection. My grandfather isn't seeing guests today. Please leave. But Fang Yuan had no intention of going anywhere. Just then, a powerful, booming shout came from nearby. What's all this noise? Old Master He Lan had arrived. He Lan Yu immediately ran over. Grandpa, someone barged in demanding to be your disciple. Fang Yuan saw his chance. He rushed forward and bowed politely. Grandpa He Lan, I'm Fang Zheng's brother, Fang Yuan. I wish to study under you. However, Old Master He Lan simply stroked his beard. He declined flatly. I am no longer taking on disciples. You should look elsewhere. Fang Yuan panicked instantly. He actually stepped forward to block the Old Master's path. Grandpa He Lan, if Lin Ran can be your disciple, then why can't I? You can give me a test. He Lan Yu snapped on the spot. My grandfather already said, he's not taking disciples. Why are you being so persistent? Little martial uncle's talent is obvious to everyone. I doubt you have even half of his skill. Fang Yuan's face turned beet red with anger. He suddenly charged toward you. I challenge you to a match. You stared at him. You found it hilarious. This kid doesn't really want to be a disciple. He just wants to see my fiancé, doesn't he? Why does my fiancé have so many admirers? You just wanted to get rid of him quickly. So, you gave a lazy wave of your hand. Not interested. I'm sleepy. I'm going back to bed. With that, you turned and walked away. Lin Jiahe hurried to follow you. Having been rejected, Fang Yuan's expression was hideous. Looking down on me, are you? Just you wait. He Lan Yu added coldly. Little martial uncle doesn't have time to play house with you. You can leave now. Fang Yuan had never been treated like this in his entire life. He was fuming. He turned and grabbed Fang Zheng's arm. He lifted his chin arrogantly. I am Fang Zheng's family. I'm here to accompany him to visit his master. Is this how the He Lan family treats their guests? He Lan Yu was so annoyed by this nonsense that he stormed off. He was going to complain to his master. Soon, the news of Fang Yuan wanting to become a disciple spread throughout the entire He Lan household. Fang Zheng was thin-skinned and quickly ran back to his room. He looked at Fang Yuan, who was lying on the bed playing games. He plucked up his courage and said, Brother, let's just go back down the mountain. Everyone outside is talking about us. Fang Yuan turned off his game and sat up impatiently. Talking about what? They're saying you're no match for little martial uncle, and that I even lost to him during the competition. That's because you're incompetent. Fang Yuan said mockingly, if it were me, I would have taken the championship easily. He even went as far as intentionally breaking Fang Zheng's runner-up trophy. Just then, Lin Jiahe was heading back to her room after lunch, only to have her path blocked by Fang Yuan. I heard you're also Grandpa He Lan's disciple. How about this? You and I will have a match. Fang Yuan really wanted to know what Grandpa He Lan's standards for disciples actually were, but Lin Jiahe shook her head. I won't. Master said, calligraphy is for cultivating one's character, not for showing off. Those words made Fang Yuan's face look even worse. Lin Ran looked down on him, and now even this little brat was looking down on him. He immediately threatened her. Fine, if you won't compete, I'll go find Lin Ran instead. Wait, Lin Jia thought to herself that she was the older sister. She had to protect her little brother, so she agreed. The two of them went to the classroom. Lin Jia has spread out the rice paper and prepared the ink. Fang Yuan was full of confidence. He didn't take this child seriously at all. We'll see who can finish writing the Ode to the Red Cliffs first. Whoever takes the least time and has the neatest handwriting wins. Lin Jiahe was stunned. She had only read that poem once. She hadn't memorized it at all. In the blink of an eye, Fang Yuan had already written most of it, while Lin Jiahe had only managed a few words. She got anxious. This isn't fair. I don't know the Ode to the Red Cliffs by heart. Fang Yuan put down his brush. He mocked her. I'm already finished. And now you say that? This is the most basic poem. Are you blaming Grandpa Helan for not teaching you? Lin Jiahe fell silent. Her fists were clenched tight. Fang Yuan picked up his work and walked over to her. His eyes were full of sarcasm. You really are unskilled. I have no idea why Grandpa Helan even took you in. Oh right, I heard he only accepted you because you're Lin Ran's sister. That's not true. Master took me in because of my ability. Her eyes welled up with tears. She couldn't bring herself to say the rest. She remembered that she really had pestered the master to take her in, and at the time, it was only so she could stay by your side. Lin Jiahe suddenly bolted out of the classroom. Fang Yuan, satisfied, took out his phone. He took a photo of both their works and posted it on Weibo. Had a great time practicing with Lin Jia. He intentionally showed his own face and his completed work. But for Lin Jiahe's part, he only photographed the nearly empty paper. The internet exploded instantly. He was implying those few messy words were all Lin Jiahe could do. It was obvious Fang Yuan had won. Lin Jiahe couldn't even finish the piece. Before long, the news of Fang Yuan defeating Lin Jiahe spread like wildfire. Night fell. Lin Jiahe was the only one missing from the dinner table. Where is Jiahe? Old Master Helan asked. You also found it strange. You hadn't seen her since the afternoon class. Just then, Fang Yuan brown-nosed by showing the Ode to the Red Cliffs. He wrote at noon. Grandpa Helan, could you please take a look and tell me where I can improve? He glanced at it. The more he looked, the more he disliked this boy. Old Master Helan gave it a cursory look. He spoke flatly. Not bad. You have some talent. Fang Yuan was overjoyed. He quickly struck while the iron was hot. Then are you willing to take me as a disciple? The old master smiled and shook his head. I've already taken my disciples. Why don't you ask my other disciples if they're willing to take you? You smirked and said mockingly, why don't you be my disciple instead? I promise I'll teach you well. Let him be your disciple. He's your romantic rival in his dreams. The old master smiled and changed the subject. Lin Ran, go check on Jiahe. You went to her room and knocked, but there was no answer. You pushed the door open. The room was pitch black. You fumbled for the light switch. Only then did you see Lin Jia huddled on the bed. She was hiding under the covers. Why are you hiding in here? Didn't you hear me calling you? You were a bit annoyed, but seeing her like this made your heart sink with worry. You were about to pull back the blanket, but she held onto it tightly. No, her voice was thick with tears. You frowned. What happened to this girl? Who bullied you? Tell me, and I'll go deal with them. Lin Jia finally let go and poked her head out. Her eyes were red. I embarrassed you, Lin Ran. Fang Yuan challenged me to a match, and I lost. He said I'm not worthy of being Grandpa Helan's disciple. She stared into your eyes, getting more upset as she spoke. She hugged you and started sobbing. Lin Ran, is my calligraphy really that bad? Did Grandpa Helan only keep me because of you? Under the dim light, your gaze turned dark and unreadable. How dare he bully my crybaby sister? Fine, Fang Yuan. You've successfully pissed me off. Meanwhile, old Master Helan was feeling pestered by Fang Yuan. Luckily, Fang Yexu showed up just in time. So, little guy, you're the one who wants to be a disciple. You've got the look, but I'm not in the mood to take any disciples lately. Come back in a few years. Fang Yexu knew Fang Yuan liked Xu Nianshu. This kid was a potential threat to the relationship between you and Xu Nianshu. He couldn't allow it. Fang Yuan swallowed his anger. He feigned politeness. My skills are superior to Lin Jia's. I only want to study under Master Helan. Exactly. Only by staying by Helan's side could he get close to Sister Nianshu. Just then, you walked in, holding Lin Jiahe's hand. You want to be my master's disciple? Fine, but you have to beat me first. Your soft, childish voice echoed through the hall. Everyone was stunned. The past few days, Fang Yuan had been clamoring for a match, and you had completely ignored him, hadn't you? Fang Yuan glanced at Lin Jiahe. Seeing her timid look, he felt even more disdainful. If trash like her can be a disciple, then why can't he? Fine. How do you want to do this? Fang Zheng quickly tugged at his clothes. Brother, don't be impulsive. You're no match for little martial uncle. Shut up. Fang Yuan glared at him fiercely. The old master and the others settled in to watch the show. They seemed certain that you wouldn't lose. You let go of her hand. You spoke coldly. A competition without stakes is boring. If you lose, you apologize to Jia. Everything clicked for the onlookers, so you were standing up for Lin Jiahe. She really had been bullied by Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan nodded immediately. Deal. But if you lose, you have to call me senior brother. Feng Yexu asked what was going on, and you laid out everything about how Fang Yuan had bullied Lin Jia, picking on someone smaller than you. Only someone as thick-skinned as him would find pride in that. You called him out without hesitation. Fang Yuan snapped instantly. It's her own fault for being incompetent. Feng Yexu shook his head. This kid's character is definitely lacking. So, Feng Yexu took the lead and proposed the format. He would recite 3 poems at random. Whoever finished writing them in the shortest time would be the winner. Then, Old Master Helan would judge the calligraphy itself. Yu and Fang Yuan immediately entered a state of intense focus. He was extremely confident in himself. Li Qingzhao's Slow, Slow Song, Li Bai's Parrot Island, and the final one, the first 2 were simple, but the third one was a challenge. Fang Yuan clearly got stuck on the third poem. He began to struggle, trying to recall the lines. Meanwhile, your brush moved like it was guided by a god. Everything flowed perfectly. Fang Yuan caught a glimpse of you out of the corner of his eye, seeing how calm you were. He suddenly felt a surge of panic. Damn it. Why did my mind have to go blank now of all times? Master, I'm finished. It only took you 5 minutes to complete all 3 poems. You even raised your voice intentionally, making sure Fang Yuan heard you. Fang Yuan could only try to comfort himself. Writing fast doesn't mean writing well. Old Master Helan walked over to you and took a look. He nodded with satisfaction. Grandpa Helan, I'm done too. Fang Yuan finished his last stroke. He let out a sigh of relief. But after the old master looked over his work, his expression didn't change at all. Fang Yuan got anxious. He blurted out, Grandpa Helan, between me and him, who wrote better? You didn't seem worried at all. Just looking at Master's face, it was obvious you had won. Fang Yexua stepped forward to examine both pieces. He already had the answer in his heart. Fang Yuan's calligraphy is quite good, but it lacks patience, especially the last poem. The strokes are a bit rushed. Hearing this, Fang Yuan's heart skipped a beat. He clearly wrote it well. They must be intentionally protecting Lin Ran. He refused to accept it. He rushed over to your work to see for himself. But when the characters on the desk met his eyes, he froze instantly. How is this possible? Every single stroke of the 3 poems before him was incredibly fluid. It was several times better than his own. Not to mention, in his rush to finish the last poem, his writing had become sloppy. There was simply no comparison. He had lost completely. Fang Yuan hung his head. The result was already clear. Old Master Helan sighed softly. You're still young. There's still room for improvement in the future. Fang Yuan bit his lip, filled with resentment. You lost. Apologize. You pushed Lin Jiahe in front of him. With great reluctance, Fang Yuan squeezed out 3 words. I'm sorry, but you weren't satisfied. The great young master of the Fang family can't handle a loss. You sound like someone's forcing you. There's no sincerity at all. In front of so many people, you didn't mince words. You clearly wanted to make a fool out of him. Fang Yuan's fists clenched and then relaxed. I'm sorry. You kept pressing him. Who are you saying sorry to? No name, no respect. Fang Yuan suppressed his rage. He spoke through gritted teeth. Lin Jiahe, I'm sorry. Lin Jiahe gripped your hand tightly. I accept your apology. Fang Yuan snapped his head up and glared at you. His eyes were burning with fury. Lin Jiahe continued. I'll make sure to study hard from now on. I won't be lazy anymore. Feng Yaxue was amused by her. He rubbed her head. Good girl. Then how about I test you often from now on? Lin Jiahe's face fell instantly. It seemed she had just dug a big hole for herself. Fang Yuan behaved himself quite a bit after that lesson. But before you could even catch your breath, new trouble came knocking. After the OU group suffered a major loss, they actually turned their sights on your eldest senior brother, Wen Lezhang's family business. Just then, when Lezhang rushed back from out of province, he looked panicked. Clearly, something big had happened. He didn't even stop for anything else, and went straight to his master, Old Master Helan. Seeing his frantic state, the master immediately dismissed everyone to speak with him in private. You also became distracted. Did something happen to the Wen family again? So, you made an excuse to go to the bathroom, and secretly followed them to the master's study. But just as you were about to eavesdrop, someone suddenly tapped you on the shoulder. You turned around to see Lin Jiahe. Ling Ran, eavesdropping isn't what good kids do. You quickly covered her mouth. Be good, or I won't talk to you anymore. Lin Jia froze. Only then did you press your ear to the door. The conversation inside came through clearly. Master, the O Corporation has begun suppressing the Wen family. Wen Yuezhang's voice was full of despair. They didn't just leak dirt on us online, they even burned down 10,000 units of our stock. Now the Wen family can't ship orders on time. Buyers are canceling in a frenzy. The company has suffered massive losses. His sister, Wen Ziming, couldn't hold on anymore, which is why she called him for help. After the master heard this, he looked sympathetic, but in the next second, he revealed a shocking secret. That strategy wasn't my idea. Give me 2 days. I'll go find the person who set that trap. The old man actually suspected that brilliant plan from last time was Shu Nianchu's doing. After hearing all this, you immediately went back to your room. You quickly organized all the information in your mind. You decided to take the initiative. Early the next morning, you pretended to run into senior brother Wen Yuezhang. Is your company hiring? I want to work for you when I grow up. But Wen Yuezhang was preoccupied. He just brushed off your childish words with a few lines and hurried away. Sigh. I couldn't get anything out of him. It looks like I'll have to find another way. So, you dialed your eldest sister, Lin Shiyuan. She actually bolted out of her classroom during a lecture, just to take your call. Ling Ran, what do you need? I'll buy it and send it up the mountain right away. Your heart warmed at her words, but you immediately lowered your voice. Big sister, help me look into the Wen company, but don't tell anyone. This is a secret between us. Ran, why are you suddenly interested in a company? You had already prepared your excuse. Senior brother is unhappy, and I want to help him, but he's proud, so he can't know. The brother doting Lin Shiyuan immediately agreed. Fine, leave it to me. Big Sister's efficiency was incredible. In just one day, the truth was sent to your phone. Inside the Wen company, there really was a mole planted by the EUI Corporation. Now, all you had to do was flush this traitor out. The night was as dark as ink. You once again slipped into the master's study, planning to use the old method of hiding the strategy under the inkstone. But just then, on the other side, Su Nianshu received an invitation from Elder Helen. Your plan was flawless. Just as you were hiding the second strategy under the inkstone, the study door suddenly swung open. Crap, you were caught red-handed. A tall figure completely loomed over you. The lights were dim, and you couldn't see who it was at all, until their cold voice rang out above your head. It's late. What are you doing in here? It was Su Nianshu. What was she doing here? You almost screamed in fright, but your survival instinct made you swallow the scream back down. However, you reacted instantly, grabbing her arm and acting cute. Sister Nianshu, did you come here specifically to see me? I missed you so much, but she wasn't falling for it. Her deep eyes were locked onto you. What did you put in the study? Damn it. She definitely suspects something, because the master had already tried to fish for answers from her, and now you were acting suspicious coming out of the study. She ignored your attempts to stop her, and strode into the study. Your face turned pale. You wanted to rush over and stop her, but she simply picked you up, leaving you unable to move. Then, she reached out and pulled that piece of paper from under the inkstone, where you had just hidden it. So this is the secret you've been hiding all along. He stares at you intently. It's as if he's trying to see right through you. Your mind races at lightning speed. In an instant, a plan that's half truth and half lie takes shape. You immediately switch into full actor mode. You admit that you were the one who left it there. But just as he's about to press for more, you pretend to panic and cover your mouth. The plan? What plan? I was just doing what that uncle told me to do. Oh no, I let it slip. As expected, Su Nianshu takes the bait. You continue your aggrieved performance, claiming you only did it because you were offered a small reward, and that you don't even know what that mysterious uncle looks like. Looking into your big, innocent eyes, he actually believes you. He assumes there's some master pulling the strings from behind the scenes. He doesn't suspect a little sprout like you at all. Striking while the iron is hot, you say, quick, put the paper back. Big senior brother is still waiting for it to save his life. Hearing this, Su Nianshu actually puts the note back exactly as it was. He leaves it right where he found it. Not only that, he even carries you out of the study. You immediately lean your head on his shoulder, acting thick-skinned. Sister Nianshu, carry me back to my room. It's too far, and my legs are tired. You're feeling quite smug inside, but just then, a surprised male voice calls out, Sister Nianshu. It's Fang Yuan. When he sees you being carried by Su Nianshu, the surprise on his face instantly turns into horror. Why are you in her arms? Get down this instant. You hug her even tighter, and snap back petulantly. Why should I? Sister Nianshu wants to take me back to my room. Fang Yuan's face turns beet red with rage. He wrenches out, trying to snatch you away. At the critical moment, Su Nianshu speaks up coldly. No need. It's on my way. Fang Yuan's hand freezes in mid-air. It's like he's had a bucket of cold water dumped over his head. On the way back, you're in high spirits, gazing at your child bride's stunning beauty. The more you look, the more satisfied you feel. So, you take the chance to ask her, Sister Nianshu, it's my birthday next week. Will you stay and celebrate with me? He gives a faint hum of agreement. You immediately push your luck. Then can I ask a little secret? What are you planning to give me as a birthday present? Su Nianshu simply nods. Only then do you feel at ease. In the blink of an eye, your birthday arrives. To celebrate your big day, Master has made it a very grand affair. All 5 of your sisters have shown up, but your head is spinning, especially with your sharp-tongued third sister, Lin Shuiying. She actually teases you in front of everyone about your child bride being snatched away. Eat a banana and shut your mouth. Annoyed, you grab a banana and stuff it right into her mouth. Then, you run over to Su Nianshu's side. You grab his arm tightly to stake your claim. Where's the birthday boy going? He's already siding with an outsider before he's even left home. Lin Shiyuan sees right through you. Stop bad-mouthing Nianshu, or Lin Ran really won't talk to you anymore. Just then, Lin Jiahe comes running over with his stack of rice paper. Lin Ran, this is my birthday gift to you. Curious. You open it up. It turns out to be her own calligraphy. You nod with satisfaction. Not bad. You've improved. I like it a lot, getting praised by you. Lin Jiahe is so happy she could fly. The other sisters also present their gifts one by one. Martial arts manuals, beautiful clothes, they've given you everything. Seeing you being pampered like royalty makes Fang Yuan, who's standing nearby, go mad with jealousy. He speaks up sourly. It's just a birthday. Is all this grandiosity really necessary? What's even more annoying is that while you're waiting for Su Nianshu's gift, he actually tries to squeeze in next to your child bride. You huff and puff as you rush over, forcing yourself right between the two of them. Fang Yuan's face turns green with anger, but seeing your sisters there, he swallows his words. He holds back his temper. Instead, he makes a snide suggestion. Lin Ran, today is your birthday. Why don't you give us a calligraphy performance? The moment he says that, Master and your sisters all start clapping in agreement. With no other choice, you have to agree. Just as you're about to go get the brush and ink, Fang Yuan suddenly interrupts. Why don't we let Fang Zheng and Lin Jie go? They know where everything is. You immediately sense something is wrong, but your eldest sister actually agrees. Little did you know, Fang Zhang pretends to trip on the way. He drops your most precious calligraphy brush on the floor. Lin Jiahe quickly helps him up. She doesn't notice that the moment Fang Zhang picks up the brush, he's already tampered with it. Back in the main hall, everything is ready. Just as you're about to start writing, your hand suddenly stops. Wait. The feel of this brush is completely wrong. What's wrong, Lin Ran? Lin Jiahe looks at you with an innocent face. You speak coldly. I need to change brushes. This one is broken. The words have barely left your mouth. When Fang Yuan immediately jumps in, you're not just making excuses because you don't want to write, are you? You look at him suspiciously and notice Fang Zhang's guilty expression. You understand everything instantly. You hand the brush directly to him. How about you write with it then? Fang Yuan's face stiffens, and he immediately refuses. Just then, Master personally walks over carrying a box. Use this brush. You take a closer look. Isn't this the one you gave to Master? The limited edition calligraphy brush? He's actually giving it back to you. You take it, pleasantly surprised. Thank you, Master. Standing beside you, Su Nianchu watches this scene, and his gaze becomes meaningful. Su Nianchu's eyes are locked onto that brush. That was clearly the return gift he gave to you. How did it end up in Master's hands? You actually gave away something he gave you? In an instant, his heart is filled with a mix of emotions. Meanwhile, you put pen to paper and write a large character for love. Lin Jiahe asks curiously about it. You slowly lift the rice paper. You explain, this character represents my birthday wish. I hope that the family I love, Master, senior brothers and sisters will be happy and healthy forever. Of course, you silently add one more thing in your heart. I hope my beloved can stay with me forever. You didn't dare say that out loud, lest your child bride gets too shy. The birthday banquet finally ends at midnight. The Lin family reluctantly heads back down the mountain. On your way back to your room, Fang Zhang suddenly pops out. Little junior uncle, I have something to tell you. You tell Lin Jiahe to go on ahead. Under the dim light, you've already guessed what he's going to say. Fang Zhang is so nervous he doesn't dare look at you. He finally speaks up. I'm the one who broke your brush. I'm sorry. You reply calmly, I know. Fang Zhang is stunned. He starts to stutter. You ask him meaningfully. Was it an accident? Or did someone tell you to break it on purpose? Fang Zhang's face turns pale. He bites his lip hard. He runs away without saying another word. You think to yourself, am I really that scary? Worried something might happen, you quickly follow him. To your surprise, as you get close to Fang Zhang's room, you see Fang Yuan blocking his way. He grabs Fang Zhang by the ear and drags him inside. You realize something is wrong. You quietly hide by the door. You hear Fang Yuan shouting, how could you mess that up? You made me look like a fool in front of everyone today. How did I end up with such a useless brother? Fang Zhang clutches his ear and finally finds his courage. Brother, little junior uncle isn't a bad person. Why are you targeting him? Fang Yuan explodes in rage. He grabs Fang Zhang by the hair. Since when do you get to tell me what to do? Think you're a big man now, do you? Fang Zhang screams in pain. Your anger flares up. You kick the door open and barge in. You shove Fang Yuan aside and shield Fang Zhang behind you. You let out a cold laugh. So the great young master Fang likes to abuse his own brother in secret. That's quite an eye-opener. Fang Yuan's face is grim. You were following us. You wave your phone at him. I was just worried about Fang Zhang. I didn't expect to see this. I've recorded everything. If you don't want this recording posted online, get off this mountain right now. Early the next morning, Fang Yuan indeed leaves with his tail between his legs. The entire Helen household is overjoyed at the news. During morning calligraphy practice, Fang Zhang follows you everywhere. This really annoys Lin Jia. Hey, why are you hogging Lin Ran? Lin Ran is mine. Fang Zhang actually snaps back bravely. I like little junior uncle. No way. Lin Ran already has a fiancé. The two kids start bickering instantly. You can't be bothered with them. What you care about more is how things are going with big senior brother. Meanwhile, old man Helen looks at the plan you left behind. He's even more convinced it's Shu Nianchu's work. He decides to play along and pretend he doesn't know, waiting for the next chance to catch her in the act. On the other side, Wen Zining and Wen Lezeng are also staring at the plan on the note. Brother, your master is incredible. I'll arrange for someone to make the fake seal right now. Let's see if that spy shows his true colors. Wen Lezhang nods solemnly. Sure enough, after a week of waiting, the spy finally can't hold back anymore. News comes in from the scouts. The two of them immediately check the finance department's surveillance, only to find that the cameras are broken. You get frustrated. Damn it, they're too cautious. I'm going in there to grab him myself. When Lezhang pulls him back. Don't alert the enemy. We have to wait until he meets with the people from the UAG group. We need ironclad evidence. 20 minutes later, a man in black emerges from the company. He's wearing a hat and a mask. With his head down, it's impossible to tell who he is. Wen Lezhang immediately sends men to follow him. Now, all they have to do is wait. Sure enough, the next day, the subordinates manage to snap photos of the spy meeting with Director Wang of the U group. In the restaurant, a waiter pretends to trip. He discreetly slides a recording device under the table. A second later, he walks into another room and makes a call. President Wen, it's done. In a corner booth, Wen Lezhang and Wen Zining are staring intently at their phones, listening to everything. A greedy voice rings out. Director Wang, I brought the stuff. What's the next step? This spy, named Li Da, has desires that far exceed the reward the O group offered. Director Wang tells him to stay undercover. Keep a close eye on the Wens. Notify me the moment anything happens. We have to take them down this time. Then Li Da starts complaining about being poor. Director Wang, I've been a bit short on cash lately. Director Wang gets the hint. He slides over a bank card, but a flash of murderous intent crosses his eyes. This man knows too much. He can't be allowed to live. Just as the two of them leave the restaurant, Li Da is about to get into his car. Suddenly, two men rush out and pin him down. He struggles desperately, but his mouth is taped shut. He's blindfolded and shoved directly into a car. The next day, the Wen family suddenly calls a press conference. Director Wang of the O Group thinks they're about to surrender. He's waiting to enjoy the show. At the press conference, Wen Xining is in a white suit, radiating a powerful aura. The reporters below are whispering among themselves. Is Wen Yao about to declare bankruptcy? I heard they lost tens of millions. They've got guts to have lasted this long. Wen Xining picks up the microphone. Her voice is ice cold. Regarding the warehouse fire, I feel deeply responsible, but after an investigation, it was no accident. It was arson. The room erupts in an uproar. Someone sneers. Still making excuses at a time like this, Wen Xining signals her assistant. Several photos instantly appear on the big screen. The photos show Director Wang of the U Group with a strange man. Then a recording echoes through the hall, revealing that the man is the EO Group spy planted within the Wen family. At the scene of the warehouse fire, we discovered this person had been in and out. Not only that, he also stole our company's financial reports. The evidence is irrefutable. The scene instantly explodes. The U Group's conspiracy becomes the headline every reporter wants to break. Just then, security guards bring a man onto the stage. It's Li Da, the spy from the photos. Every lens is instantly pointed at him. Flashes go off like crazy. Why was the U Group so despicable? Did you ever think you'd get caught? Li Da keeps his head down, not daring to look at the cameras. He knows he's finished. He can only wait in despair for the O Group's reaction. Given how the O Group operates, does he even have a way out? Li Da realizes it in an instant. The O Group is going to treat him like a disposable pawn. Instead of waiting to die, he might as well fight back. The next second, he screams at the cameras. That's right, I'm the spy sent by the O Group. They couldn't acquire the Wen family, so they sent me to sabotage them. Wen Xining and Wen Lejiang exchange a look. Then Wen Xining takes the microphone. Her cold gaze sweeps across the room. I, Wen Xining, do things above board. The O Group's methods are truly shameful. Is this the principle of a large corporation? She wants everyone to see the O Group's true face. Meanwhile, you're using the excuse of going to the bathroom to secretly watch the live stream. You really admire Wen Xining's boldness. You think to yourself that you must work with her in the future. Sure enough, as soon as the press conference ends, the trending topics explode. Number Wen family eldest daughter rages at U Group. Number U Group scandal. The U Group is instantly caught in a storm of public opinion. In a fit of rage, they actually send people to silence Li Da. Although the Wen siblings sent people to protect him, there's always a slip-up. On a dark and windy night, the guards suddenly pass out. Two dark figures rush into the room. They throw a sack over Li Da while he's still dreaming. But as they're heading downstairs, a dozen people suddenly rush out from the corners. The kidnappers are instantly neutralized. Inside a van, Shu Nianchu's assistant, Ji Tian, gives a cold order into his walkie-talkie. Li Da is rescued. He's about to say thank you when he's dragged into another car. Ji Tian takes off his sunglasses. His voice is devoid of warmth. Tell us everything you know, or next time you'll be a corpse. Fearing for his life, Li Da spills everything. Ji Tian's phone records the entire confession. After several days of rain, the sun finally comes out today. You're lying on a rocking chair, enjoying the sunshine, squinting your eyes comfortably. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "Hey kid, is your master in?" You open your eyes and find the beautiful lady in front of you. Isn't that Wen Xining from before? You immediately give her a sweet smile. Sister, did you defeat the O Group? Wen Xining is taken aback. Then she smiles. I did. Where's your master? I'll take you to him. You happily take her hand and skip along toward the study. To your surprise, the moment she sees Old Man Helen, Wen Xining drops to her knees on the spot. Not only does it startle you, but Old Man Helen is also shocked. Quick, get up. What are you doing? Wen Xining is full of remorse. Elder, if it weren't for your plan, our Wen family would truly be finished. As she speaks, she presents an exquisite box. This is a small token of my father's gratitude. Please, you must accept it. Old Man Helen waves his hand repeatedly. He sighs. Young lady, to be honest with you, I wasn't the one who wrote that plan. What? Wen Xining is pale with shock. Old Man Helen continues. I just found that paper in my study. I'm also looking for the person who wrote it. Just then, the butler comes to report. Master, Miss Shu has arrived. Old Man Helen's eyes light up. He pulls Wen Xining aside and says, I suspect the one who secretly left the plan was that girl. Meanwhile, your junior, Fang Zheng, rushes into your room in a panic. Little junior uncle, quick, your fiancé is here. You're still lying in bed eating snacks when he drags you out to the main hall. The chessboard is already set up. Su Nianchu is playing a game against Old Man Helen. You quietly sneak over and hear Old Man Helen say as he places a piece. He laughs. Nianchu, it's quite a coincidence. Twice I've found brilliant plans in my study, and twice you happen to be on the mountain. The words have barely landed when Shu Nianchu slowly looks up. His deep gaze instantly sweeps over to you. Standing to the side, you think to yourself, oh no. You happen to meet Shu Nianchu's gaze. You're instantly filled with guilt. If he rats you out, you're screwed. So you quickly press your hands together in prayer, winking at him frantically, putting on a pitiful expression, begging him to keep your secret. In an instant, everyone's eyes are focused on Shu Nianchu. They're all waiting for his answer, but he speaks slowly. I know who put the plan in the study, but I don't know who wrote it. The moment he says that, everyone is stunned. Old man Helen is the first to disbelieve. What do you mean by that? I'm confused. He thinks the girl just doesn't want to admit it. However, you're so scared your heart almost stops. Luckily, his answer didn't really reveal anything. You're safe for now. Shu Nianchu simply places another piece. He looks up calmly. You've lost. Old man Helen finally realizes the game is over. His face turns red with embarrassment. He quickly makes an excuse. This game doesn't count. I was too busy talking to focus on the moves. Standing nearby, you almost burst out laughing. Master is such an old kid, always trying to save face. But just then, Wen Xingning gathers her courage to ask again. Mr. Shu, can you tell me who left the plan? Her eyes are shining with excitement. If she knows who left it, can't she just follow the trail to find the author? Your palms are sweating from nervousness. Your brain is working overtime to come up with a countermeasure. But just then, Shu Nianchu gives you a meaningful look. I can't say. I promised the other party I'd keep it a secret. Oh my god, he's actually helping you. You immediately start nodding like a woodpecker. As long as you keep the secret, I'll give you anything. In the end, Wen Xingning leaves the mountain disappointed. The next second, you grab Shu Nianchu's hand and pull him directly back to your room. What are you doing? He looks at you playfully, not surprised at all. You immediately put your hands on your hips and glare at him. Sister Nianchu, you did that on purpose today. Didn't we agree it was our secret? You're so angry your cheeks puff out like a little pufferfish. But the corner of his mouth curls into a smile. I didn't mention you. You get even angrier. You did it on purpose. Today has been a total emotional roller coaster. You were almost scared to death by him. No way, you're not going to be the only one suffering. Your eyes dart around, and you get an idea. You beckon him, and Shu Nianchu obediently leans down. The moment his face is close, you suddenly lunge forward. Mwah! A soft kiss lands perfectly on his cheek. Then, you announce with a straight face, that's your punishment. Don't let it happen again. He reaches up to touch the spot where you kissed him, and actually gives a slight nod. Suddenly, Fang Zheng's timid voice comes from outside the door. Little junior uncle, your sister is here. He walks into the room. Seeing you and Shu Nianchu together, she suddenly froze in her tracks. Her face turned bright red in an instant, and she ran off with her hands over her face. You looked on, completely bewildered. This little girl is way too shy. Shu Nianchu reminded you that your sisters had arrived. You just gave a nonchalant shrug. So what if they're here? As long as you're here with me, that's all that matters. You weren't interested in your sisters at all. The only one you cared about was your little bride-to-be. But just as the words left your mouth, your third sister, Lin Shuing, let out a booming shout. Ling ran. There you are. We were kind enough to come up the mountain to see you, and here you are. Spending all your time with her? Have you already forgotten about us? She immediately pulled you behind her, shielding you. She glared at Shu Nianchu warily, as if she were terrified her little brother was being snatched away. You stood on your tiptoes and pushed her hand aside. Sisters, let me see them. Suddenly, your feet left the ground. Your third sister scooped you up in her arms, and without another word, she carried you out of the room. You didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to your little bride. When you reached the main hall, your four sisters all stood up in unison. The dull atmosphere was instantly set ablaze. They swarmed around you. Ling ran. Ling ran. Look at the new race car I bought for you. Right after that, Lin Yuxia shoved 2 toy race cars directly into your arms. The fifth sister, Lin Qingyue, was even more extravagant. I bought 10 cases of your favorite ice cream. When you finish those, I'll buy you more. Even the usually stern fourth sister, Lin Ruoxue, pulled out a book of elementary school math problems and handed it to you. Your eldest sister, Lin Xuan, saw you were struggling to hold everything. She thoughtfully took the items from you. She smiled. A lot of brands just released new collections. I picked out a few pieces for you. As soon as she said that, you saw several bodyguards carrying multiple large crates into the house. You raised an eyebrow. You call this a few pieces? This looks like you bought out the whole store. Just then, your third sister, Lin Shuing, awkwardly pulled a lollipop out of her bag. Here. I didn't know what you liked, so I just grabbed whatever. The other sisters immediately shot her looks of disdain. Seriously, sis. One piece of candy isn't even enough to get stuck in his teeth. Yeah, and Ling Ran doesn't even like sweets that much. Lin Shuing snapped instantly. She ripped the wrapper off and shoved the candy into her own mouth. She sat down to the side, huffing in annoyance. You watched her awkward way of showing affection and felt a bit helpless, but you still spoke up sweetly. Thanks, sisters. I love everything you got me. Standing by the door, Shu Nianchu watched the scene, a flicker of envy crossing her eyes. Is this what it feels like to have a family? While she was lost in thought, you were being smothered by your sisters to the point of collapse. You ran toward her on your short little legs. Nianchu, help. Save me. She reached out, wanting to ruffle your hair, but then she hesitated. I came to say goodbye. Your heart tightened. Where are you going? When will you be back? She looked into your innocent eyes with a complicated expression. Finally, she managed only a few words. It might be a long time. With that, she turned and walked away, not even daring to look at your disappointed face. You felt completely deflated. Your sisters tried everything to cheer you up, but you just couldn't find it in you to be happy. So, the 5 sisters cornered Lin Jiahe in the hallway. They took turns interrogating him. Spill it. What kind of spell did that Shu Nianchu girl cast on Ling Ran? Lin Xingyu had a sudden idea. We could just stop her from coming up the mountain. After a while, Ling Ran will just forget about her. The sisters discussed it and thought it was a great plan. They immediately started divvying up the task. Only the eldest, Lin Shiyuan, remained silent. She was worried that doing this would make you unhappy, but what she didn't know was that even if they didn't interfere, Xu Nianchu wouldn't be coming back anytime soon, because something had happened at her home. Yuan Qiqing was making a scene, threatening suicide. Her father, Su Chen, had called her home immediately. As soon as she arrived, the butler rushed to meet her. "Miss, you should go hide for a bit." Xu Nianchu let out a cold laugh. "This is my home. I'm not the one who should be hiding." The moment she stepped into the living room, she saw a total mess. Before she could even react, slap. A stinging blow landed hard across her face. Xu Chen's face was dark with rage as he roared, "Look at what you've done. She is your elder. How could you insult her like that?" Her face burned with pain, but Xu Nianchu's eyes were filled with nothing but disdain. That woman was putting on an act again. She spoke coldly. "Nice performance. What's next? Are you going to kick me out of the house?" She emphasized every word, each one cutting like a knife. "This is my late mother's house. It doesn't belong to that woman. If she can't stand it, she can leave. Otherwise, I really can't say if I'll end up hurting the child in her womb." The words had barely left her mouth when, slap, another blow. Xu Chen was gasping for air, trembling with fury. His hands shook as he pulled medicine from his pocket and swallowed it. Xu Nianchu showed no fear. He stepped closer. "In this house, it's either her or me. If she stays, I go. Decide for yourself." With that, she turned and went upstairs without looking back. On the other side, Su Chen was beyond livid. The butler could only support him and sigh. Xu Chen rubbed his temples, his face full of sorrow. "I just thought this home needed a lady of the house." The butler suggested, perhaps Madame Yun should move out for a few days, but it was clear that Yuan Qiqing had no intention of leaving. And so, the standoff lasted for several months until the child was born. Xu Nianchu buried herself in her studies and work, no longer having the time or energy for anything else. Meanwhile, on the mountain, you waited through several seasons. In the blink of an eye, you reached school age. On this day, the entire Lin family came up the mountain to take you home. Grandpa He Lan looked at 7-year-old you and Lin Jie, his eyes full of reluctance to see you go. "Once you're down there, don't just play all day. Remember to practice your calligraphy." You and Lin Jie nodded obediently. "Grandpa He Lan, we understand." But as soon as you got back to the Lin residence, your sisters insisted on making you write calligraphy for them. You collapsed onto the sofa, exhausted and motionless. "I'm too tired. I don't want to write. Maybe tomorrow." But your third sister, Lin Shuing, wouldn't let it go. "No way. I already bragged to my classmates that you're a calligraphy genius. I'm waiting to show it off." You just rolled over and ignored her. "No. If you keep pestering me, I'll cry to mom and dad and tell them you're bullying me." The next morning, you were woken up by your sisters before you were even fully conscious. Lin Jiahei tried to shake you awake several times, but you didn't budge. You were dead to the world. Lin Shuing gave a mischievous grin. "Move aside. I'll handle this." She actually pulled a fake spider out of her pocket and dangled it in front of you. "There's a spider on your bed." Her shout made you bolt upright, eyes snapping open. A black, 8-legged monster was right in front of you. "Ah!" You scrambled out of bed in a panic, screaming as you jumped onto a chair, stomping your feet. "Third sister, you're the worst. Get it away from me." You hated multi-legged creeps like that. You were covered in goosebumps, but Lin Shuing was doubled over laughing. "Ha ha ha, it's fake. That's what you get for being such a heavy sleeper. Now you know not to mess with me." Fake, you finally realized. The spider in her hand wasn't moving at all. "Oh, you've done it now? You little brat, you really used a bug to scare me." The next second you lunged at Lin Shuing, snatched the spider from her hand, and shoved it right toward her mouth. "Keep laughing. I'm going to make you eat this thing." Lin Shuying never expected someone your size to have such incredible strength. You had her in a headlock with both hands, tugging at her hair, while trying to force the fake spider into her mouth. The other sisters stood by, completely stunned. None of them dared to step in. They all had the same thought. From now on, never, ever piss off Ling Ran. The chaos only ended when the maid called everyone for breakfast. The atmosphere at the table was bizarre. Lin Shuing, in particular, was unusually well-behaved. She seemed traumatized just by the act of eating. Just then, Lin Yuxia asked curiously, "Dad, are Ling Ran and Jia He going to the same elementary school we went to?" Lin Mo nodded. "The teaching and management there are top tier. We can rest easy." The sisters' eyes lit up. "That's great. We can pick Ling Ran up from school every day." The usually quiet fourth sister, Lin Ruoxu, spoke up immediately. "I'll drop Ling Ran and Jia He off at school from now on." Lin Qingyu followed up quickly. "Then Lin Yuxia and I will pick him up. Our middle school isn't far from the elementary school, and we get out at the same time." The sisters had everything arranged for you in an instant. Lin Qingyu didn't forget to add, "We don't have evening self-study anyway." Suddenly, the third sister, Lin Shuing, cut in. "Second sister, you're being too bossy. I have to be part of the school run too. I'll take Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You take Tuesdays and Thursdays." The eldest, Lin Shiyuan, also frowned. "You've got it all figured out, haven't you? What about me?" You had a sudden idea and smiled. Eldest sister, you can come with second and third sister. You can all drop me off every day. You didn't realize that one sentence would stir up a hornet's nest. Lin Shuing immediately protested. Why does eldest sister get to go every day? I'm going to drop you off every day too. The second sister, Lin Ruoxue, nodded in agreement. Me too. You were speechless. I was just joking. I can go to school on my own. I don't need you guys to escort me. No. The five sisters refused in unison. Just then, Lin Jiahe tugged at his clothes, looking hurt. Why didn't anyone ask me? I'd love for my sisters to take me to school. As soon as he said that, the sisters looked at him like he was their savior. Fine. We'll make sure to drop both you and Ling ran off. You shot Lin Jiahe a fierce glare. Way to open your big mouth. On Monday, a car pulled up to the school in a grand fashion. Inside, you looked at the row of beautiful sisters and sighed helplessly. Fourth sister. Fifth sister. Why did you guys come along too? Lin Yuxia replied matter-of-factly. Today is your first day of school. As your sisters, of course, we have to show up in full force. Lin Xingyu nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. A moment later, the driver opened the door. Just as you and Lin Jiahe stepped out, your five sisters, dressed in their high school and middle school uniforms, followed one after another. They surrounded the two of you, protecting you in the center. The spectacle immediately drew everyone's attention. The surrounding parents and students were in an uproar. Oh my god! Who are those five beauties? The little boy in the middle is so handsome. Are that boy and girl twins? Their looks are out of this world. I heard the Lin family had a pair of twins starting today. That must be them. Quick, take a picture and send it to the group chat. Seeing the crowd grow, your sisters immediately started clearing a path for you. But you stopped and looked at them seriously. You guys should go now. I have to go to class. If you keep following me, it's going to be embarrassing. You pointed to the surroundings. Look, all those guys are staring at you. The sisters looked at each other, clearly reluctant to leave. Lin Shuing even had the nerve to wink at a few of the boys. Oh my god, she smiled at me. I'm dead. The eldest, Lin Shiyuan, couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed her younger sisters and hurried them away. Then, the principal personally came to greet you, leading you and Jiahe to the Class 1. Grade 1 classroom. The principal was incredibly excited. After all, your reputations as calligraphy geniuses had already preceded you. Mr. Lin, Mrs. Lin, please rest assured. We will definitely nurture these two children into outstanding individuals. At the classroom door, all the children were sitting up straight, staring at you expectantly. You spoke up first. Teacher, Jiahe and I are the new students. Where are our seats? You and Lin Jiehe were already exceptionally good-looking, and in your matching outfits, you looked like a perfect pair. The homeroom teacher looked at you with eyes full of anticipation. Why don't you two write your names on the board first and introduce yourselves? He specifically made way for you, clearly very interested in your calligraphy. But facing this for the first time, Lin Jiehe was so nervous he grabbed your sleeve and hid behind you. You didn't hesitate to give him a little shove forward. Write your name. You picked up a piece of chalk and wrote your name on the blackboard. The characters Ling Ran were written with fluid, powerful strokes. Immediately after, Lin Jiahe also gave it his all, determined not to be outdone by you. The whole class stared with wide eyes, full of admiration. You gave a polite bow. After a brief introduction, you scanned the room and spotted an empty spot. You turned to the teacher. Teacher, can Jiahe and I sit together? You could feel Jiahe beside you, clutching your hand tightly in his nervousness. You had to look after this little crybaby. The teacher immediately arranged for you to sit down, and the lesson began. On the surface, you were listening intently, but your mind was miles away. Lin Jiahe, however, was listening very seriously. But after class, he pointed at his textbook with a pained expression. Ling Ran, I don't understand the math. Seeing his pitiful little face, your fatherly instincts kicked in. You ruffled his hair. It's okay. I'll teach you whatever you don't know. You were just trying to help Jiahe, but you didn't expect a crowd of students to gather around you. Even the class monitor, Li Liang, looked at you with worship in his eyes, begging you to explain a few problems to him. The other students were just as eager, swarming forward. You groaned inwardly. Being this talented is such a burden. Just then, the bell rang. But the students were still immersed in your explanation. The English teacher burst into the room with a roar. The students scattered like startled birds, each one snapping into a perfect sitting posture. The teacher was fuming. Class has started, and you're all huddled together. Where is the discipline? At that critical moment, a girl in the corner suddenly raised her hand. Teacher, it was the new transfer student who started it. You looked over sharply. The girl had slightly curly black hair and delicate features, but her eyes were full of contempt. The moment you saw her face, the image of Wu Jun flashed through your mind, the scumbag who had caused your death. You quickly withdrew your gaze, stood up, and explained calmly. Teacher, my classmates were asking me questions. I was just telling them to stop. Then you politely apologized. It's my first day. I didn't know the rules. It won't happen again. Your well-behaved act instantly melted the teacher's heart. After questioning a few other students, the teacher told you to sit down. But the girl, Wu Ruochen, was clearly annoyed that you got off scot tangent-free. Before you knew it, school was over. You felt like the day had been a total ordeal. But just as you and Jia stepped out of the building, someone blocked your path. You spoke politely. Excuse me, could you let us through? But when you moved left, she moved left. When you moved right, she moved right. Your short temper was starting to flare up. It wasn't until she looked up that you realized who it was. It was the same girl who had targeted you in class. Wu Ruochen. Wait, Her last name is Too? The world couldn't be that small, could it? She spoke in a commanding tone. Ling ran. If you ever dare to explain problems to the class again, I'll tell the teacher. You snapped back irritably. Is it any of your business? She arrogantly declared. I'm the boss of this class. If you don't listen to me, I'll make sure you're the enemy of the whole class. You looked her up and down, then let out a cold smirk. Move it, fatty. You're blocking my way home. When she didn't move, you simply reached out and shoved her aside. You only used a fraction of your strength, but she stumbled and nearly fell. What a joke. You were a taekwondo expert. Even your coaches couldn't beat you. A mere brat was no match for you. You were just giving her a small lesson. If she dared to annoy you again, you couldn't guarantee you'd keep your temper in check. Wu Ruochin stood there in shock. When she finally snapped out of it, she stomped her feet in rage. Damn it. He actually called me a fatty. She looked at herself. She wasn't fat, she was just sturdy. Just then, there was a commotion at the school gate. You saw the familiar family car and walked over. As soon as your fourth and fifth sisters stepped out, the screams from the boys nearby nearly deafened you. Holy cow. Lin Yuxia and Lin Xingyu are so gorgeous. Ling Ran is so lucky. What did he do in his past life to deserve this? Beside you, Jiahe was so scared he huddled close to you. The boys at our school are terrifying. You couldn't agree more. All this trouble was caused by your sisters. You had to make sure they never picked you up again. Back at home, you immediately opened your laptop and searched for Jun's name. Sure enough, the records showed he had a daughter. Although her name and photo weren't public, your gut feeling wouldn't let you rest. So, you masked your IP address and quietly hacked into the school's website. You pulled up the student files when you found Ruochin's name. There it was in the family relations column. Jun's name was listed right there. With a loud snap, you slammed the laptop shut. Your expression was grim. Your gut was right. Ruochen really was Jun's daughter. To think you'd end up in the same class as the daughter of the man who killed you in your past life. Fate really has a twisted sense of humor. But since his daughter is right here, I'll have to keep a close eye on her. The next day, as soon as you got to school, the cute girl at the next desk, Tian, turned to you. Ling ran. Which of your sisters do you like the most? None of them, you answered flatly. But as soon as the words were out, Jiahe leaned over with tears in his eyes. Ling ran. Do you not even like me? You felt a massive headache coming on. You quickly tried to appease him. I like you the most? Obviously. Kids these days are so hard to handle. Just then, Ruochin slammed her hand on your desk. Where's your homework? The English homework representative behind her whispered a reminder that you were new and didn't have to turn it in. Ruochin shouted. Who says? There's no special treatment in this class, am I right? If you listen to me, I'll help you cover it up. You were already in a foul mood because of who her father was, and here she was, actively looking for trouble. You spoke coldly. If you're so brave, go ahead and tell the teacher. Ruochen was so frustrated by your arrogance that she gritted her teeth. She grabbed your arm, but before she could finish her sentence, ow. Her wrist suddenly throbbed with pain. You shook her hand off, looking at her with pure disgust. I hate it when people touch me. Ruochen clutched her wrist, her face pale with pain. She took several steps back in fear. His strength. It's incredible. Meeting her icy gaze, Ruochen scrambled back to her seat. Jiahe looked at you with pure admiration. Ling ran. You're so cool. If she ever bothers you again, just hit her. You just opened your book and said calmly, good kids don't fight. For the rest of the day, Ruochin stayed away and didn't cause any more trouble. You were happy to have some peace and quiet. As soon as class was over, you slumped onto your desk for a nap. A moment later, the math teacher walked into the classroom. Seeing you still asleep, he frowned. But before he could say anything, the whole class held their breath.